Good evening, everyone. Welcome along. It's Match Point Finals. It's the Vulcan series brought to you by Celestial Tournaments. I'm Mark of G, joined lovely Scott Convergent as well. It's been a
Pleasure.
fantastic few weeks, Scott. You got to see the
It,
last chance qualifier. I missed it, but we're here now for Match Point Finals.
it was absolutely stacked as per. Like, these lobbies have been such a great mix of both Pro League players, like sort of LCQ players, and obviously the women's comp scene as well. So it's been pretty stacked. We've seen some mixed results here and there. Some weeks have had subs slotting in, so maybe not teams at their full strength, but Match Point Finals, cash is up for grabs. Now is the best time to be bringing your A game and your A squad.
Yeah, it certainly is. And that being said, you're talking to cash, right? Cash is the main thing for these players that are playing for first and second spot are up for grabs for money, but you also get they get a chance to get some cash for the most kills and the most damage in the lobby as well. So even if your team doesn't come up on top, you can still be out there gunning and doing what you have to do best. First place will take home 240 and it'll be 60 for second place. And then if you get the most kills, it's £30 and it's 30 for your most damage as well. So I mean, there's all to play for whether you are going to be one of these mediocre teams or maybe one of the bottom lobby player teams. There's still a chance for you to get some cash, and obviously you want to go for that first spot. You want to go for that big money.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, just stacking points, that's just a surefire guaranteed spot of second place at best, because that's the beauty of Match Point. Of course, for those who maybe haven't watched enough Apex and not really know what Match Point is, you have to score 40 points as a squad before you're Match Point eligible. Then you have to win a game. And that is obviously where it starts to get a little tricky, because the pressure might start mounting. You might start to make mistakes as a squad, or people might just recognize the skins you've been using throughout the evening and start sending you. But again, that's why we love Apex. It's BR, a little bit of randomness into boot. And can you get a win when it matters? And that's what our teams are going to be trying to do tonight. We're going to be diving in between Stormpoint, E-District and World's Edge this evening, Mark, in a kind of snake-like fashion. We'll be back and forth, so you won't even get the chance to settle in on one map and lock in fully before you're already thinking about what's going to happen next.
And you get slithering away to the next one, exactly that, as we snake draft our way through this proceedings. It's going to be fantastic to see. And I've said it and said it time again, every single time I bring in What She Expects is the fact that it's Match Point Finals. It's always been a great addition, right, to any battle royale. Right? I'm so glad that Apex was the first to do it. They're a fantastic option to bring in this format. But now, bands of legends every single time as well makes for an interesting kind of change of scenery every single time. You get change of map, you get change of characters and legends select. So it just totally throws everybody in the mix and every opportunity. Like, you could be on Match Point after like 3 games potentially looking to win it and just can't close out, and then these teams just slowly start to get these points, and before you know it, you've gone from 1 team on Match Point to 4 teams on Match Point to sometimes 10 teams on Match Point before you eventually get a winner. And that winner doesn't necessarily mean it's the first person on Match Point. It could be the last person on Match Point with the lowest amount of points and still gets the win. So like, it is such a fantastic format, such a fantastic way of playing things, and you've seen it on the big stage time and time again, how you just don't expect who's going to go out and win it. Like, time and time again, it always happens.
And that's the beauty of it, Mark. You've kind of hit the nail on the head there. The legend band. I remember the days when it was full legend metas, no bans, and I remember sitting in Japan and just seeing Gibby, Rampart, and it's like, oh yeah, here we go again.
There we go.
However, now it's just so much more variety is possible in a Match Point format, because if the games keep going on, we're going to see so many legends that we maybe didn't expect to see. Naturally, we'll see our Caustics, our Valkyries, Altars all making appearances early on. However, things change when you start losing some of those control legends. People might switch out to people like Fuse, so you've got the combination of an Assault legend combined with a ring scan beacon, and just still having that capability to lay down pressure. We've been seeing a lot of Maggie also appear in this tournament. She's, since her buff's been a real viable opportunity, and naturally to take away some of that cover potential that you get with some of those legends as well. You've even got Sparrows making an appearance, who you've got that sheer area control. But what's going to happen when those legends aren't available? available, that's when it really starts to get down to the wire.
Yeah, definitely. I want to see some really changeable legends that you don't see, like Mirage. Mirage, you get a wee sneaky play once in a blue moon, but I mean, I don't dislike a Mirage pick sometimes just because you're going visible when you're hitting that med up. You get the chance to just bamboozle and confuse everybody around you while you do so as well. Gives yourself an opening to get your team back alive again into the action. But speaking about getting into the action, Scott, where are we heading to Storm Point for our first matchup, right? Some of these players are fresh off of a scrim as well. Some of these pro players have been playing some scrims, so they're going to be hot, ready to go. I wonder how the rest of the lobby will fare that are just maybe turning it on after just turning that game on 12, 15 minutes ago, maybe potentially, and they're going straight in to what's going to be potentially. I'm going to hit a number in there. I'm going to say around about 7 games we're going to have. Right? 7 is what my favorite number. I think we'll get to about that before we see the ending.
Often the safe bet. And hey, like you said, some of these pros have been playing scrims already. Maybe it was a bad scrim set. Maybe they're hot. Maybe they're not. Maybe they'll be ready to come crashing down and suffer a little bit after a bad set. But maybe this is the lobby that'll see people jump up as well. So like you say, hopefully our teams have warmed up, been in the firing range at an absolute minimum, because Storm Point is where the action is taking us to start. And I love a bit of Storm Point action. We've got an absolutely stacked lobby. People who are more than comfortable with this map, not the new vibes of E District as it may be. This is the classic, the best, and we've got a couple of gaps on the map as it may be. No one really landing at coastal camp, which naturally typically would be the case. So yeah, we're going to have some real opportunities for some early fights, perhaps around Devastated Coast and Launchpad. We've seen a lot of teams facing off really early in the qualifying weeks as well. So now's the time to get aggressive, Mark. People are going to want to get those points, start clawing their way to match point sooner rather than later.
Yeah, exactly that. And you know what? Looking at the ring as it stands, pretty sentinels to start us off with. And you're going to see teams like Fallout, Team Hartley, Pixel, all in the middle, along with Syntrix, who was literally on the cusp of qualifying in that last chance qualifier as well. So they're in a good spot early on. I wonder where this ring pool. I mentioned Jurassic earlier at the start of the broadcast, and the only reason I did is because in my head, in the background of my stream that you don't see, just to the right hand side, is I've got a big Barbie dream house that I'm out to build into a Jurassic Park dream house for the little one.
Wow.
So
Fair.
that's why I was thinking Jurassic's this map, isn't it? Because I could show you all my Jurassic figurines I have around here already.
He's got Jurassic on the brain. But speaking of which, we're actually going to have a fight pretty early. OR9 and New already facing off over in Launchpad. So we'll get to some of that action very, very soon. Early damage coming out towards OR9. So New getting some good shots on the push. OR9 have managed to just kind of lock down the building for the time being. Obviously, they've got a Caustic, they've got Maggie, they've got Valk. So they're already they've already lost Valk. Did I just cast across that one, Mark?
That's a straight up cast the curse right from the rip here. News like, nah, you know what? We're gonna sit you down. All of a sudden, ain't my router is down, so he's gonna have to reset that router and see if he can get himself back into this battle. But no, are not giving up on this fight. They're gonna make sure they send this. They're looking for these early points early on and looking to try and see if they could take OR9 out of the lobby first off.
Yeah, some good return fire there on the Valk outside, but New really aren't utilizing utility as effectively as they could. There we go. Now we're seeing it. We're seeing those portals come down to try and scan the room, but maybe jumping up was not the right thing to do.
No.
Scan, coordinate with your team. That just seemed like a hit and hope play there, Mark.
Yeah, and that is not what you want to be playing. You're thinking you need to use these abilities, get yourself in there and get into the action. No, it does exactly that, but it's Envy that goes down straight afterwards. It's good shots there, though, and the Caustic does go down to half health with no shield here. Needing to get that shield cell popped once again. But in the kill field, you've seen a lot of kills going down as well. And that's going to be an interesting to see if we're seeing a team out before this team in this battle even gets finished, because this one's lasted long enough, but it is New. It does get eventually ended here in a 9-team spot, unfortunately, after them getting that first knock early on.
Yeah, it's Team Hartley and Despicable that we're just facing off as well. Lots of action in the kill feed there. But it appears we also lost, I was going to say Eclipse, but they didn't quite make it.
Eclipse didn't start, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, New being the first to be eliminated. Very, very unfortunate, but despicable. Lost to Axington just now, but getting out of Dodge is Ivan Slab. Solo getting away. Nedlock and Hyarka both eliminated as well. So, early kills on the board for Despicable as well.
Yeah, no, just north of Sonoty Cave, we've got about 4 or 5 teams all kind of sitting in buildings in and around there, or looking for a wee spot to sit around and wait at the moment. But I mean, the way the things can be going, Pipsiki losing one, needing to recover the banner here for Get Rush, but they're over to that downed base side here, and you can see them trying to get their way towards that, well, the banner. They need to make sure they get the teammate back in, right? And there is going to be fights in around it, the potential to be taken out as well. So you've got to watch your surroundings as you get past down base, because you've got players like Effect and Hackis and Belleru all on your hunt.
Yeah, that's right. Lust were in some trouble there, as well as Popsike. So Popsike lost Get Rush. It was just a perfectly timed third party there from Team Katana, already laying fire down towards the mill side as well. So they're just taking a nice little rotate. They're going to try and find some space, but you can tell they're going to play hard edge right now and see what they can do with it. But Oi Rain right now in some real trouble, because hot on the heels is Effect. But if anyone could stand a chance against someone like Effect, it would be this man here. However, taken away from the side, we manages to get a nice little knock there with the R9. Good follow up there as Desu left on her own, trying to get a reset for the team. So good kills there from Katana, Mark.
Yeah, so this has gone north over towards North Pad. You've got Shikaku drive going south to try and get the rest of their team back up from Lust. So far, still managing to stay alive as a whole so far. But if one individual person has to try and get that full recover of the banner, which I'm sure will happen. And Despicable, they've had a few knocks earlier on as well. Let's see if they're going to try and find another here as they try to take that big shot there towards Hartley. They have got 2 knocked as well, and that's unfortunate if you're Team Hartley, but a nice little reset all the way back will get you there. But we're just switching back because there's so much action going down early on, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it's typical of a Bean kind of zone where you know you're going to be playing in a mixed lobby. It's not all pro. People aren't getting straight into their spots and stuff like that. And Bean's just one of those open spaces. So you've got people like Team Maple right now, currently sat atop the God Rock in Bean. So if they can hold that, they put themselves into a good spot for a potential endgame. But that's going to be hotly contested. But in the meantime, Despicable on the hunt over at Barrow right now. You've got Zuni with the bow check right now, just laying down fire and with infinite ammo. So send those arrows, start firing like your Legolas, because that's one of the best combinations you can have with a bow check is infinite ammo.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's Rogue that's trying to get away with his life, and as that Caustic has managed to get away. But not far though, because there's a player right around him as he drives around the corner. He's going to be unfortunate if he could potentially fall down as well. But on board with Ivan Hiaraka, did get knocked down earlier on in the lobby, managed to be reset as well. So this is a nice wee change of legends that we're not used to seeing as a kind of set. Valkyrie being brought back, obviously, with the changes to Valkyrie and the ultimate and stuff, has been a fantastic addition to bring them back in to the meta as well. So I'm liking the fact that we're seeing a few Valkyries on these teams as well, which is going to be great to watch how that will play out in these games, potentially towards endgame and looking into rotating into zone.
Yeah, and I'm loving the decision by Scarlet Eyes to already be rocking the crypto, because you know what? Sometimes it's worth not just picking the legends that are immediately going to be banned. It allows you to retain some element of consistency with your play. And whipping out crypto at this moment in time, Billy's made a really, really ballsy call, and a good call, a strong call, because crypto is just one of those legends that can utterly devastate some teams. Good shots there from Kyrie, dropping down and getting the caustic on Get Rush. And this seems to be a relatively isolated 3v3. It is none other than Oirain and Co., who just got reset and just got eliminated. Popsike going out in 17th place. Some easy KP there for Scarlet Eyes, who just had the full util ready to take a fight at ease.
Spoke about it earlier as well. The use of the Maggie ball, you can see it breaking down the doors, getting their way in, getting the knock, and Mayborn looking to finish it off here. That's also from that site of the Valkyrie. You can see all the tags as the players start to reset in, and they're just going to land right into the gunfire of the Mozambique doubles and ready to fire everybody out of the air, the sky. They're chasing as well, and Router's looking for that final member. Are they going to be able to find it? Is OR9 going to get another kill here? Pulls out that double Mozambique once again, akimbo, but I
It's
think
just a
they
shame
might
you're
have seen.
chasing a sparrow there. The little
Yeah,
jump off the cannon. The only legend that really stood half a chance of getting away, aside from maybe a Revenant. But of course, we're not really going to see much in the way of Revenant until maybe later when people need to run it down. So really good play from Hartley to get on that cannon first. But again, Mayborn, Angie, and Ain't My Ruta, really well played to just get the kills, keep the pressure up, because these are just clean, right? They're so clinical. They're getting easy points. They're already getting off to a solid start mark because we aren't even at a point where placement points are starting to make much of a difference right now. But lots of fights falling out of the kill feed right now as we go to Team Fallout. AJ down to a duo as well with Rain.
yeah, exactly. There, you're seeing Roadhouse in the kill feed here getting knocked as well. Roadhouse actually do get eliminated. Bankai finishing them off, but Volkswagen Twitch is going to have to deal straight away with shots in the back, potentially having to get out there because third party is starting to get involved. There's so much going on. There's so many teams in such a quite tight space, and you're watching at every single angle because you just don't know where you're going to get shot from. And speaking about shot, Lust gets shot out, and they are out of the lobby in 15th spot. Pixel with that 30-30 and an R99 is a great selection, but getting tags as Sabs as she tries to get back out of there. And the Katana also taking tons of damage as well. So we're just seeing lots of players getting lots of tags and having to get reset so that they're not going to be eliminated before these big points start to come and get racked up.
Yeah, Katana just need to consider getting a port down, a Nexus into the side of Mill so that they've got some flexibility to get back to the Nexus and take some fights. Scarlet Eyes going with a similar playstyle right now, just getting in, TPing back. Just natural altar play. Much needed nerf on altar where you can no longer TP when you are down. You have to be called back now. So certainly seen her shifting outside of the meta in a much needed change because our toolkit was just way too powerful at the time. However, within that sort of controlled style of play with pros and whatnot, altars can still really shine. But Despicable, I said that you might not see a Rev, but this is exactly what they're doing, right? They've got Rev, Bang, and Valk. That's a team ready to send it, Mark. They're racking up the KP, and they're hoping to keep up the pressure.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? They're doing great when it comes to kills on the lobby so far. A total of 10 between the full squad. Scarlet's not far behind him, but there we go. When you're having a float and getting knocked and down, there's a chance that you won't get any more kills here. And Vindex are looking to try and make sure they can finish them off. But are they going to go challenge that downstairs? Or are they going to keep their safe ground up here in behind the beautiful, beautiful rampart walls with the roofs all involved as well, making sure it's a very difficult task to get back up the stair and into the action.
Yeah, it's a tough one because however you look at it, you've got some people knocking on the door, they've got some loot, they've got the util, and they've got the comfort of playing aggressively, but Vindex managing to get that banner of Waddle as well. So going to try and get some kind of reset effect, unable to destroy the drone and prevent it. But where do you get a reset when you've still got 12 squads in quite an open space? You're going to be relying on Crypto getting that reset as well.
Yeah, exactly. You're so far away from respawn beacons as well. If they are going to be respawning any of these beacons as well, it's right bang smack in the middle of everybody else's eyes as well. And that's going to make it so much more difficult to try and get yourself reset and back to your team in that lobby. But we'll see. As you're seeing Katana once again trying to find opportunities, but you've got Despicable and Bankai taking a fight. You've got Ivan getting flying in here with that Valkyrie. They're going to have a lot of vision to see where players are, and some good tags there with a triple take as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I stand corrected. My apologies. It was just a case of third party. It wasn't Vindex getting Waddle. It was Billy getting Kyrie. So Kyrie is back. Kyrie doing Kyrie things, just sending it, getting knocked. But you know what? When she's got some good cover, she can do some severe damage right now. So Ivan just looking down from the rock side from Bean, overlooking Mill. It's a tough spot to hold because naturally they can be wrapped on from behind. But thankfully for them, there's a lot of other teams right now just holding the other spots. They're going to be potentially caught with their pants down. But Bankai right now
Oh,
taking a swing and getting some big damage, Mark.
Yeah, well, Billy was caught with the pass down there. Double Mozambique once again getting used and bringing it to the action. It was doing so well when it was originally brought back. Eventually, I never seen a Mozambique ever been picked up, and when they brought it to Akimbo, it was fantastic. I don't know what's happened. My Cyrus type things here. I feel like there's a wee crash for the future for me, but
I think it's an Apex thing, to be honest, Mark, because
has
I
my
just
Apex
walked
gone down
by
as well?
Apex as well. So we will obviously, I'm not sure if we're still live, but we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
There we go. So
Ooh, likewise. Okay, so yes, we did have a little bit of an outage there, but the games are still going on. We've got some nice free cam action coming in, so big shout out to production, Mark.
yeah, I love a little free cam, especially if you know what you're doing with it. It just looks so good to watch the oversight of what nobody else really gets to see very often when you are playing the game, right? You don't get to see where everybody is from a distance, from above. That bird's eye view gives you so much knowledge of where players could potentially look to go at, but you don't get to see that as a player on the ground. You have to rely on your in-game leader, and so far, I assume Floating's trying to do that work here, but unfortunately it will go down. It's going to be Kyrie trying to stay alive and keep the team in it, but in behind that Newcastle wall, they're defending for their life here as Ivan, but they will take out Scarlet Eyes, and they were one of the top teams with the most amount of kills in the lobby. Fallout will fall next here as well in eighth, and all of a sudden, Ivan, after taking that fight, they're now stuck in a position where Nedlock has to get them out of a headlock because this is going to be a tough spot, and it's not possible. Ivan will be eliminated in seventh.
Yeah, and I was saying this before about Team Maple. They were rocking the God Rock for quite a long time. That might see them get up into a top 5 spot there, and they managed to fly in to safety. So Maple and Co getting into a good spot, potentially with the Newcastle, but being laid down with a lot of nades right now. Thankfully, they've got Newcastle, they've got Rampart. That combination can be really good for just building up space. Going to leave them in a really relatively safe spot where they can maybe pick at the sides, get some of the kills. But otherwise, Bankai looking like your early game winners unless they get griefed on those rotates. If Bankai can hold the North mark, they could win game number 1. It's whether or not there'll be an unholy alliance between teams as they recognize the risk to the team on the North and take the fight to them with a potential third party.
Yeah, bad guys still trying to get sight of the players inside the building, looking for opportunities, trying to break their way in if they can. All of them are just hiding behind that rock in a hard place, which is actually all right for them. Maple's still in the lobby though, when 6 squads remaining. Maple were another team that just made it in on that last chance qualifier. Look where they're standing. Would you think they were on a last chance qualifier to get to this stage where there's 6 squads with some of the best teams in the lobby as well?
Well, that's just it. It's confidence, right? And I'm pretty sure I seen on Twitter that Maple ended up winning a tournament with 20k damage. That is
Wow.
utterly insane. So that's clearly someone who can deal a lot of damage. It's whether or not you'll get that level of consistency and aggression capability in a lobby like this. But Sheila is spinning. She's firing those bullets. Rampart taking care of Sparrow's dart very quickly, but just trying to pick on the sides right now. So Danda in a pretty good spot. And this is a team that's really been shining for a long time throughout this entire Vulcan series, and that's Sabs and PXL. But players right now just trying to stay alive in the open space right now. Util is being thrown around like a dog toy right now, Mark.
Yeah, this is it. It's going to be absolute chaos. You got Ramparts railing that Sheila across the way, kind of getting tagged in the back. Zachway's managing to stay out of the harm as well there, but thankfully for the Newcastle, they'll stay alive for a little bit longer. But I'm saying a little bit longer. Legit was a little bit longer and scored and get eliminated. Team Maple still in this. There's 3 teams remaining. Guess what? It's anybody's players. Well, it's any player's game, but Tropsicate is in a very difficult position. If they go for that reset, there's a chance of being eliminated as well. But the shots are fantastic and crispy. They're tagging up so much, but because you're so little and just yourself, I very much doubt they will survive long enough to go on to win it. They don't. Two teams remain on. Bankai is the champion. I don't even get the chance to switch to them to see it. And Bankai, you were right in saying so. They were in a great spot to close out the game. And guess what? They are.
And they managed to do it. And yeah, really, really clean from Bankai. That was just a cute awareness, recognizing the space you have, holding it, and then just letting the lobby take care of itself, right? Sometimes patience is a winner in Apex. If you're patient enough to let the kills come to you and you can retain a good spot, you can win a game just like that. So Kings at Vulcan and let's say S4K getting a nice cheeky win for game number 1. So that confidence is going to be easily built upon because nevertheless, a big 12-point banger, that's all you can really ask for to start building up for the second game mark.
Oh, 100%. What a way to do it as well. Definitely a fantastic showing. Sorry about the switching because I realised that it was actually me. It was on this being shown, and my buttons for some reason all reset again, so I couldn't even switch to the right POVs I wanted. So yeah, 16 kill banger, like you said, from Bankai. A fantastic finish for the players getting in first spot there, just with that lone survivor trying to stay hidden behind the knockdown shields. It wasn't going to last long enough. I felt it, but only 3 kills in the lobby. But you know what? Third place. I mean, you're going to take some good points from that straight off the rip. The only other team you need to keep an eye on is Despicable and Scarlet Eyes, who are from 9 down below. They've both got 10 kills in that lobby as well. Fantastic showing considering their placement in the lobby.
Yeah, and you know what? A big shout out to Team Maple. Managing to get second place, but playing that God Rockin' Bean for so long and being on blues as you fly into the hot zone and still managing to come out on top. All those nades coming down, the use of Rampart, the use of Newcastle, that pure utility. They built a fortress, they turtled up, and they managed to secure second place. What an excellent showing right there. And still, it goes to show, you may not get the zone pools, but sometimes it's how you can coordinate with your team. So a really, really great start for teams Bankai, Maple, and of course anyone else who was racking up the KP as well. You said it yourself, a lot of teams who may have been further down the board did have statement games, Scarlet Eyes, Despicable, 10 KP games plus a little bit of placement. You've got to be feeling good going into game 2. Like, hey, you know what? We're in good rhythm, we're getting some kills. It's not going to be long before someone's knocking on the door at match point mark.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Especially the action was going down the way it was, and you've got some big teams and players that aren't even anywhere to be seen around that top half of the leaderboard as it is. Obviously, you've got a few players in there that are relatively good. Floating, for example, was doing a fantastic job there for the squad. But you know what? It was Kyrie that was keeping them alive. Kyrie kept getting the resets, kept getting the chance to keep the team in the fight, which was fantastic to see. Yeah, so going into our next match up on E-District, we're going to be changing things up completely again. And Valkyrie, strangely enough, is going to be the first one banned. Believe it.
It's a tough one to be banned,
Yeah.
Mark. At the end of the day, you can't fly over the heights and you can't just skip through some of those chokes with a Valk missing. However, you've still got Alter, the ability to get through some of those walls, cut some of those corners, and maybe spring a trap on someone could be what is needed. But we were seeing it in that first game. Some of the Alter plays that were coming out, maybe a little questionable, a little bit over-enthusiastic. This is not ranked. At the end of the day, you can't just port into a room and hope for the best. But maybe you can utilize that utility to get some clean rotates as well. Without Valkyrie, maybe we'll see some other options, some Wraith, Pathfinder if anyone's feeling brave, but otherwise it's just going to be good old-fashioned rotating without the skies, Mark.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. Exactly that. I mean, we'll see what the plans and actions are going to be. Are we going to see a change up of a rotational character? Maybe, maybe not. But maybe just have to stick with their guns and get with the good old legs and run your way around the map where you possibly can. E-District is a fantastic map for the fact that there's so many variations in height, right? And that's what I love about E-District, although it could be a bit chaotic at times, and people just aren't sure where to be going. Obviously, it's still a new, well, we say new map, it's not really a new map to the kind of scene, but a lot of players still don't like it enough to kind of practice on it as much or know their way about the map as well as they would wish they did. Compared to some things like Stormpoint, which we just witnessed, and World's Edge, for example, who have been in and around for forever. So we'll see what goes into as we head in to our beautiful map of E-District, and we'll see who's going to be taking that top spot and who's going to get kills on that board, because now people are going to be thinking, right, there's a lot of teams up here with a lot of points through kills. We're going to have to start getting some kills and get some points on that leaderboard.
Yeah, you want to watch out. If you see a Revenant, Despicable are probably going to start running at you. But nevertheless, people will be watching out for Bankai. If Bankai get eliminated on that board, there's going to be a little sigh of relief, because however you look at it, a massive game to start out. They're just going to keep up momentum, right? Who is going to be the first ones to stop Bankai? At the end of the day, hey, there's money up for grabs, whether it be first place, second place, or indeed kills or damage. You want to be in a position where you're putting yourself forward for that cash. And seeing Bankai go down early could be a real breath of fresh air, an opportunity to try and claw up that board and catch up, make up for lost ground, Mark, because they had a fantastic game, right?
Oh, 100%, 100%. And look at this. Look at who we're getting to highlight on the screen here. We've got a bit of Hackus in the middle. You got Rain and Legatron are highlighted players. What does that show off on A District? Why are they showing there as banners, by the way, Scott, as a wee heads up? Because I don't ever actually pay attention to that half the time when I'm loading into the lobby.
Oh man, it's one of the things, and what a great nudge to production, getting that free cam action, just giving it more of a cinematic experience. Of course, we would not be able to be here, Mark, without the wonderful Yusake for inviting us, and of course the production team behind the scenes. We've got Emerald Blossom and we've got Trey alongside Yusake, bringing the action to all you viewers. We've got the easy part, right? We just need to yap over it. We yap, we see the plays, we call it, and we just have fun in front of the desk, but could not be done without all of our production team. And of course the players, so every single player who's turned out this evening to compete for that cash. It's a shame that the series is not going to be going into December, but wow, we're already knocking on the door of potentially getting to December, Mark. How the year flies. And it's been great to see the Vulcan series standing tall and delivering week on week.
Yeah, exactly. That it is just a crazy, crazy quick year. I have no idea how it went from January to almost December in the blink of an eye. But you know what? We've seen a lot of great Apex throughout the year, and that's for sure. And the Vulcan series is another one to add to that basket. So, heading towards what we're trying to do here, though, it is 50-point threshold we're looking to try and get to. We're almost, well, we're past halfway already if you're Bankai, right? You're already past that halfway.
Yeah.
Can you do it again in another game, get to that threshold? There's a chance, there's an opportunity, but I'm sure players and teams around them will make sure that that's not going to be the case.
Well, they've got a tough one. However you look at it, Roadhouse are going to have the zone pulling towards them. I think there's going to be a northern pull there. And fundamentally, landing, or if the zone is pulling to where Roadhouse are, it's not going to be an easy one to defend from the bat. Bankai, who obviously had a big game, have to do that rotate all the way from Humbert. They're on the move. Whether or not they'll be able to do the same again remains to be seen. But eyes on PXL, a team who's been incredibly consistent throughout every single week of this event. And I believe just missing out on one of the deal's prizes as well 1 week as well, Mark, right?
Yeah, exactly. They were very close to it. Didn't manage to make it. Unfortunately, this is just how it is. But nobody actually managed to pick up that prize. So I mean, fair play to them. It's not like it was a major loss overall for everybody, because yeah, nobody was able to pick it up. But it were so close. There were so many teams that were just there and thereabouts. As soon as they got told that they were on it, they were just up in their game. But now you've got to up your game because there's money on the line. But Katana already, Belarus is down. But you're going to have Hackers trying to chow that. He'll go down as well. And all of a sudden, before you know it, this could be Despicable taking out Katana. But I'm sure Effect would have decided, right, we're getting out of here. We're not trying to take this fight. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Effect has to take out Shiro. And now, in a 1v1 scenario, going for the reset is to Axington.
Yeah, it's a tough one because Cax made the right play there. Go for your teammate, but you're up against someone like Effect. This is not looking too good for them. Effect's just going to try and get some of the thirst there, try and deter any hope of a reset. But Zuni is up on the feet there. It's Zuni that managed to get away amidst that res. So right now, it feels like it is just Powerhouse against Powerhouse. We is back on our feet as well. Effect getting a nice reset, but great return fire there from Zuni. It's going to be down to We to just try and mop up. But can she do it? She's 1 HP in a dream and goes down. Katana eliminated. Despicable standing tall over. I was going to say Neon Square there, but it is not. It's Blossom, sorry. It is Blossom Drive.
Wow, Azuni was definitely zooming there with that Bangalore. The extra speed boost it was dealt with, it just shows the boost that they needed to get that win and win that gunfight. And guess what? Against probably one of the top teams and players that you see week in, week out in that pro level. But Team Hartley, now they've got one knockdown. Guess what? There's a Pathfinder as well. So you're right in saying a Pathfinder will be brought to the action. But Rogue looking to try and get the teleport, does get it in before taking too much damage. So they will get out of there and quite some distance away and get a reset. Well, Team Maple do go down in 17th as well. So yeah, definitely a lot of action early on. Team Hartley managed to get miles away from where Riley and Cole were from No Name. And then you've got OG Rain who's down there with Pupsy as well. So they've lost two players as well. So I mean, you're in a difficult situation again. OG Rain having to look to try and get the teammates all back up again early on in this round.
Indeed, lots of fights breaking out right now. Ivan managing to lose Nedlock as well. Sparrow wasn't enough to dance out of danger right now. So all the way on the north right now. And that's going to be just key to try and push. It's going to be down to Slab and Hyarka try and clutch up here. But players, it is a 3v2 situation. A little bit of patience could win them some kind of fight, but they're being shot in the back. However you look at it, Mark, it's getting busy in this area. The zone's pulling up this way. It's so congested in this area. Ivan make a wise decision to just play slow, get the reset. Let's only push this if we can get a clean knock and we stay healthy.
Yeah, the problem is they have to pass them, right? They're just holding them out here. If you're Ivan, you've lost Nedlock once again. And now, the 3v2 plum players, they're sending it. They're looking for the opportunity. Slab and Hyarka trying to fight it out. Hyarka's going to take a lot of damage, you can see there, just from the screen. And it looks like Hyarka potentially will get knocked. But no, it's a good trade back there as Blake takes one down. Hyarka does eventually go down, but now Slab in a 1v2 using that knockdown shield here to defend. There's two entrances points, but only one shield to defend. You know what? Wingman in hand is sadly not going to win the gunfight, and Ivan will get eliminated here in 15th spot. And that'll be a full reset here for the players.
It was a wingman in a dream, right? But looking at that map, it's so bizarre. There's teams still all the way down at Shipyard Arcade, just trying to reset. None other than Team Hartley. Team Hartley being held out by Team No Name. But other teams just trying to play it smart, play towards that placement. Because you've seen it. Team Maple, second place in the first game, had to have been feeling good. But going out so early, it's going to be an opportunity to just kind of assess how people are playing this. Maybe strategize. How do we pick this up again for game number 3? Because that's always the risk, right, Mark? If you have one great game and then you have maybe a stinker and you just let the mental game affect you, you start to get tilted, you start to get frustrated. And then if the team that killed you go on to have a big game, it's even worse, right? Because you just see them getting all the points that, oh, God, that could have been us if only we won that fight. So the teams being eliminated right now all get an opportunity to just assess the battlefield in E-District, get a feel for what's going on as other teams just start to lock down. But Team Fallout right now, just locking down with Caustic, Alter, Maggie. A good combination of aggression and defense right now. So just holding down one of the buildings. They could easily slow play this one for a later point in the game because the zone is pulling up this way.
Exactly. There's a lot of people in that zone already for where the zone is pulling towards, one of which is none other than our players and teams in first spot as Bankai. And they're all alone, perfectly centered in that map, and they're not having to worry about anybody because everybody else is the buildings north of them. So that is a little bit of a long play out here for the end game potentially. Whereas PXL now trying to hold their building, looking for opportunities as well for kills, because obviously without getting kills in the lobby, you're not going to get any extra points. You're also not going to get teams eliminated, which means you're not going to get your extra points for your placement. So you've got to keep an eye out everywhere you look, because all these builders are now starting to get occupied by at least a team or two in some of these, where Lady Pexy actually from Roadhouse is going to be inside a fight inside their building a little bit north of them. You see it going down.
Pex and Co. Roadhouse feeling confident in locking down a big building. A lot of coexisting happening in this building. And you were mentioning before about where PXL was. I actually really favour their position. I've seen so many zones end outside those two duo buildings in the water area. So I think PXL are going to be in a really, really good spot for later. Skoden being eliminated in the kill feed as well. So that KP just added to teams' tallies right now. But Bankai still in the game. They are an energy bank. They're going to be looking for any teams on the late rotate before they start to get ready for a push for some more KP, Mark.
Yeah, definitely pushing for more KP where they possibly can, but they're in such a great spot. Like I said, it's very much nobody around them. There was a team that's actually started to join them, and you can see it as Volsey on Twitch does get knocking, looking to chase it up here. They're not going to get the banner, but they're actually dipping out of that spot that they were in. They were like, right, we're not in this fight. We've lost one. We'll get reset. We'll get elsewhere because we don't want to lose so quickly in this lobby. We still want to get into some points, which is quite a wise decision, to be honest.
Indeed, and I really feel for the fact that Volsio was the one to go down, because you don't want to be losing a crypto in that kind of situation. You need a crypto for the quicker resets. But we're actually going to see maybe a bit of a strange counter pull, because teams are just starting to load up in Energy Bank. So maybe it is that counter pull that comes back that way, and where we have Team No Name right now just locking down the fort. Maybe they're actually going to find themselves in an even better position than the teams that were further up north.
Yeah, looking that way as it stands here as well. Bankai as well, they've rotated down a little bit more south as well, where they obviously got out the way in the first place and into a better spot, actually, close to Energy Bank. So maybe not a bad idea, not a bad rotation. You've got things in around you as well. That area up north, you've got a couple of buildings that will be having to be making their way out of surviving a little bit longer than we've seen in our last lobby here over in Storm Point. And they'll be looking to make their way down as well, as they are still a little bit further north.
Yeah, it's a tough one to play out of Galleria if those chokes are taken, but now should be in a position where they can actually go back, because they had a Nexus down in one of the chokes. So they were actually controlling the choke before. So they're just going to try and catch some teams on the rotate, get some KP, and return back to their choke, because it is none other than players who's the closest to them. It's going to be tough for players to get in, because however you look at it, pushing from the north, you've got PXL locking down the building, and then you've got New, and I love saying it that way, with a Kraber no less looking on the side. So players, it's not looking good for them without having those quick rotate options like Valk, but they've got some they've got an evac. Maybe they can do something with it. Scarlet Eyes going down as well. Good shots.
Yeah, Scarlet Eyes goes down, and Sabs goes down not long afterwards. You're trying to loot the loot bin, but you know what? That's what I normally get caught doing. Caught looting, because I think loot's more important than staying alive for most parts. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and you can see it there, as that's exactly what happens. You lose a member, and now the Maggie Ball has to come out here for Fallout, but the Maggie will go down. Despicable looking to finish off. Killer does do so now. Where's that final member? We got Zero on the hunt with that Revenant coming in here with the R99 and jumping back down and forward. There's only one player to find, and they're looking for it. And you know what? Alter Q, get yourself in there. Maybe that's the Q into it. There we go. Start to pull the player. Get some weak as well. But Zero does go down.
Yeah, it's a tough one, because you know what? That is just caustic gas and how frustrating it can play against. Because Shiro didn't actually take much damage from gunfire. It was pretty much all the caustic gas. Shield still high, but now in a tough position of trying to get a bat off, trying to stay alive. But really good cover there from Despicable to keep Shiro in the fight. Fallout down a body, however, trying to just lock down in the building. But time's ticking, Mark. You have to just fight for the KP now. You're stuck in a building. You're going to be stuck on a rotate. It's going to be really, really tough for Fallout to make something of this one.
Yeah, exactly. They've got to try and find their way down, and they also have to try and watch, because they're going to be watched from behind from Despicable, who are still sitting there waiting patiently to see if the players will enter that building, exit that building. Sorry, I'm afraid, but they're seeing other teams, and other teams start making rotations. PXL, though, like I said, still missing Sabs. And players got a way of rotating around. Fallout will get eliminated. Ozuni eventually getting in there. And Rain, that will be the end of Fallout. You know what? The gas doesn't keep you enough. It wasn't enough Fallout damage from the nuclear waste containers, I'm afraid, to stop that Despicable side.
Indeed, but PXL laying down some good fire, and an interesting tidbit for anyone watching. Bankai, winners of game number 1, still in the game, and they've got practically the entirety of the southeastern side. They got Volsia back up, crypto scanning. It's looking good for Bankai already. They are in such a good spot, but great shots in the meantime there from Sabs. The triple take, only a triple take, Now switching out to get the
Oh,
RE. It's a little bit of a scurry for a second gun right now, but Nu made the mistake of staying on this side of the map right now. They
oh
should have gone back, but
no,
no, it's
Nix!
not enough.
Oh man, Nix has did such good work there with the R99 does go down eventually. Oh, R9 goes, Nu goes down, and everything starts to go down like dominoes. Cintrix next to be eliminated there in 8th spot. We have Despicable still looking to run this lobby. Now, straight in, Alter Q right through it, right into action, but Shiro will fall. All of a sudden, Roadhouse in a difficult situation, having to deal with Despicable, but they're doing a great job at it. They will take out Despicable, and the surprise attack from Despicable won't come in, but a third party, Maggie Ball, comes its way down as well. PXL gets eliminated. We're in 5 spots remaining already, and there's still plenty of time to play.
And the
Make
only
that 4.
team that is
Oh,
even
God.
touching or close to the zone is none other than Bankai, OR9. All these teams thought it was pulling to the north, but it was the few legends that actually had the zone read. Nice shot there from the Kraber. Roadhouse dealing the damage, firing that Kraber. Everyone's just being passive now, waiting to see what they can find in that zone. But you cannot rule out Bankai. Can they do it again for a back-to-back victory? Because they are playing in such a tight spot right now, with a team already looking down on them from the building. It is No Name looking at them just north right now. But Bankai can slow play this one, hope that enough damage gets dealt by other teams, and then maybe catches them in the rotate. They at least have a spot in the zone, or at least very, very close to it, but no one's really making a push for that zone right now, Mark. They're just laying down fire, trying to prevent those rotates. You do not want to play this zone too early, or you will get bullied. That's why we've got that standoff right now.
Exactly that. No Name's got the overlook over Bankai. They know that they're there, so they're not going to be the first to go there. They're not going to try and pull their way into that zone. There is one player on no Name in the edge. Team Hartley also close to that edge, as you can see. A Roadhouse playing it from the north, the only side that far up. I don't know if they'll be in a good position as they have to try and watch everybody else make their way in. It's going to be Roadhouse taking a fight towards Team Hartley. That's the opportunity that might arise early on here. Are they going to
Whoever
make it
wins
into
this
the
building, Mark, whoever wins this fight between Roadhouse and Hartley are going to be in a good spot for some kind of reset, but you've still got to be ultra cautious of the fact that other teams could come in for the third party. Maybe
Oh
just run
no!
it down early. But Roadhouse taking severe damage, losing Mizzy, losing Fury. It's going to be down to Pexi to try and clutch up, but it is a 3v1 situation despite the fact everyone is hurt. But the gas ticking away, not enough to do it. Roadhouse go down. It's going to be down to Bankai, No Name, and the remains of Hartley healing up quickly to try and reset in this final 3.
Oh, these alter Qs are just putting them into danger and getting them eliminated rather than being the surprise attack that they're all hoping for. It happened to Despicable and it also happened to Roadhouse there. They make their way in, but they end up getting shut down by the team that they're forcing that fight with. Hartley have lost Hartley, but they're going to have to try and do this with just the 2 unless they can get that recovery, but it looks like they will just manage to do so.
Yeah, No Name right now on the screen. They've got some good oversight right now. If they can retain some of this height and maybe try and force a fight between the other teams, they may actually have a situation where they are the ones to come out on top. But you just cannot afford to take any additional damage. No Name have got to stay healthy. They cannot allow a situation where one of them gets knocked, because that's just going to encroach on people playing potentially for second place.
You're saying that, and I was watching Hartley going a little bit north there to try and get some damage on No Name. So, who is the first one to fold and show their hand is the question. Will we see a team just instantly go, right, I'm going to have to start this fight? And it looks like it's going to be Team Hartley up against none other than Bankai, the winners of our mop number 1.
Yeah, No Name getting excited. They've seen that knock in the kill feed, so now they're just starting to fan out. Take those off angles and start to deal some damage. But Riley's got a potential good angle looking down right now. No Name have got to remain healthy. And Legatron taking a lot of damage but gets the swap quickly. It's going to be No Name and Bankai for supremacy. Crypto flying up high right now with Vulcia. Just trying to get that oversight. Going to try and get the drone in a good position, but gets destroyed.
Oh.
The drill comes down. It's going to force a situation where they lose that oversight. And now the first lot comes in. It's looking good for No Name right now, Mark. I think they're going to take it, but it is a 2v2 situation. It's a
King.
1v1. Can King clutch up with a slither of health, or is it going to be over?
Oh, he's
Nearly does it! Nearly does it!
He did it! Oh my god, No Name will take the win, but that was something else from King. He almost clutched up in the end, but unfortunately, second spot is all he could do from his literally in Vamp. Legatron take top spot in game number 2 here on E District. And what a game it was. I can't lie, that was so action-packed. There was so much things going on. I had no idea who was going to close that one out in the end. With 3 teams like Hartley, and Roadhouse actually was so close to the opportunity as well. I mean, it was crazy.
Whoever won that building was going to be in a good opportunity to try and force a fight between others. But you know what? Bankai very nearly coming up with that clutch victory, but No Name just played that perfectly. They took entire control of the northern side of zone. They had the height and the variations, and they were so acutely aware of the fact we cannot take too much damage. So you've seen a lot of that peeking, just getting a little bit of oversight. Really well played there by No Name. But nearly lost it out. A slither of health managed to save the day. Bankai unable to secure that back-to-back victory. 11 points and a victory. It's a nice 23-point banger for No Name. They've got to be feeling good. But stand out to Team Roadhouse. Zone started by pulling to them, and then they managed to just systematically play through, got into the right side of the wall back into Energy Bank, and still had an 11 KP banger as well. So teams playing it really well. The advantage of having those legends that can scan the zone really just playing into their favour. What a great game in E-District. But teams can't get comfortable because we're already about to go to World's Edge. E-District's over for the time being. We'll come back to that shortly, unless the games get won. But World's Edge is where it's at next, and we're going to be banning Alter. Valkyrie and Alter, those resets, those rotates, suddenly nerfed all of a sudden. It's going to be a lot slower game, but maybe quicker in some respects as well, because we're seeing teams rocking Revenant, trying to get those kills, teams like Despicable just sending it. So Mark, I still don't really know how to call this one, because if some of those aggressive teams where like Shiro's rocking that Revenant, can she actually do it to a point where they're systematically linking kill after kill, getting those kills, and maybe they'll be the ones jumping up to being knocking on the door at match point, right?
Yeah, I mean, that they have to start thinking about Bankai, definitely, though. Anywhere you see the potential of Bankai Kings, if they're anywhere on your map and you see a knock, you try to get them out of that lobby, because they're 10 points away from getting to that threshold. They've been first already, they've been second already. If they get that threshold, it's probably going to come in this next game, right? At 10 points seems to be easy enough to come by for Bankai as it stands in these last 2 lobbies. So you're going to have to shut them down early, and you want to do it before they hit that match point, right? Because we know they can win matches. So you need to give yourself as many chances, opportunities as possible. Despicable, No Name, 2 closest rivals towards Bankai to get in the points. But it could be won any point in time. You've seen Despicable take a fight to the likes of Katana and shutting them down early, which makes it very difficult for them to try and get some points, which you'd expect them to get some points in the lobby. But when you're up against a really strong opposition early on, you just never know. It is a very much a 50-50 battle, because nobody really looted up enough to get what they want to be holding as their overall end game loot. So yeah, get yourself early, get your Bankai out as quickly as you possibly can if your goal is to go on and win this, because they're your biggest opposition.
I think they just simply swap out Alter and go for Wraith. Get that rotate capability in with Wraith. The reset capability as well, if you use the portal to maybe save an ally that's knocked. I think Bankai are just going to swap out Alter for Wraith. That to me would be the wiser course of action. But much respect to them, because they've managed to hold the fort in game number 2 without a traditional rotate legend. Okay, you've got Maggie, but you don't typically use the Maggie ball for rotating unless it's absolutely critical. So they just need to incorporate some sort of rotate capability, stay consistent, try and get to that sort of top 5 where the KP is great, but you know what, the placement's going to be what's going to get us over. But I think we're going to see legends start to favour the Wraith pick over Alter, particularly for a map like this. It's World's Edge. It's a classic, a favourite amongst many. So yeah, go with legends that you're comfortable with, but also can give you those key moments of utility, giving you opportunities to win.
Yeah, exactly that. That's what you want. You need as many opportunities as possible to try and get that W. So, like we said, we're going into World's Edge for our first time. We'll get the lovely flyover while we head our way in. You're going to see more banners showing off. But let's see what legend characters select. Oh, maybe we weren't. I was going to thought we were going to see the legend characters selected. See if we're going to see the change-ups. If we are going to see rifts, but I know for a fact there's definitely some rifts being replaced there and replacing that alter selection from 4 in the legends, which like you said makes very much sense. It's almost like but I mean they do the similar jobs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot more top 6 coming into here. Because Caustic is just a bet for trying to lock themselves down into a space, getting set up to potentially play later into the game. But not many opportunities for an early fight, apart from maybe Monument and Fragment. However, Monument are going to be set up for the rotate early, right? You've got Pexi, she's going to be looking to try and get that zone information. They're used to rotating fast. A lot of these players are. But we've actually got a fight breaking out just down by 3 players taking damage. Blake taking damage from none other than Team Bankai right now, who wanted none of it. We're not sharing some of this POI as big as it is. So early shots, Bankai just keeping players at bay all the way down south. However you look at it, Mark, all of these teams have a tough job because it's pulling hard north. It's going to be going Clima north of Servicamp most likely at this moment of the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna be saying we are going epicenter. We're going geyser. Oh, climatizer. Sorry, I was gonna say geyser. Geyser's nowhere near that. Fair enough. Let's go geyser. That's a totally different map, right? No, it is. The geyser is this map. I'm lying. The geyser's further down to the north.
It's still World's Edge, my friend. Hey, we're only 3 games deep. You can't be forgetting these things.
My brain.
You think it's like match 13. We're getting tired.
I feel
buddy.
like it. I feel like it. It's been a long week in work, and I've been ill for so long.
Not
I
good,
think
mate,
every
not
day
good.
just gets worse and worse for me, to be honest. But you know who isn't ill? Is half of these players. I hope aren't ill, and they are just at the top of their game because they have to be here to try and stop the players of Bankai going on to that match point opportunity early. But you were saying South fights early on. It is players, but this time it's not actually up against Bankai. They're up against Despicable, and this is going to be a tough ask as well. So either way you look at it, you have Bankai on one side, Despicable on your other players are stuck between a very difficult sandwich.
Not enough aggression early on there. It's just going to allow Despicable to get healed. Players just a little too passive. The damage dealt on Zuni should have been enough to merit some kind of push, or at least get the nades down to try and get that knock. But Despicable just going to play small right now, hoping that they can lure someone into a rat. But you've got to be so careful because Katana are knocking on the door. The third party is in this choke right now, looking for it. You have Hackish right now on Pathfinder, popping that Phoenix kit. Going to have ample time because however you look at it, everyone's going to be so careful right now. Zuni and Co looking to peek back around the corner. Katana breaking away. Players just aren't getting a real opportunity to start. Shot when they landed by none other than Bankai, then fighting Despicable, then fighting Katana. Teams are breaking off, getting the reset, and considering their rotate options now, Mark.
Yeah, Katana were playing that wisely. They realised that this took quite a bit of damage, but realising that players like Despicable and Zuni, who put them down in the last lobby, are nearby too. So they went, you know what, we'll go back, we'll support Effect, and that's what they are doing as they look to try and chase Team Maple, who are just a little bit further north and not too far out of reach for them as well. Whether they hunt them down completely or they decide, right, we'll just get ourselves looted and booted and ready to go because they need a good performance from them. They're struggling in the last 2 lobbies, but they need a big game from them.
Indeed, and Scarlet Eyes actually elected not to go with the crypto. They're just going full aggro right now. They've got Wraith, Sparrow, and Maggie. That is just a team ready to do some damage. Billy dancing around on Sparrow, spinning around. Definitely MNK, Billy, we know it. But yeah, managing to get some KP off the board early on Team Fallout. Team Fallout just down to AJ right now, but Ivan under some pressure because none other than Scarlet Eyes recognizing the White Evos and sending it. This may be a team that is none other than full of game winners and grand champions, but nevertheless Scarlet Eyes just keeping up the aggression, wanting to take that climber side. And dare I say it, Well, Team Fallout, that's what happens when you have to get to finals by recruiting some of the miscreants from Scarlet Eyes. They help you get there, but they'll sooner than later run you out the lobby. AJ getting the reset over at Overlook, going to try and mirror that rotate now. Really well played by Scarlet Eyes, keeping up the pressure, getting the KP, but not overextending, not getting too greedy, keeping their options open in terms of their rotate. 19 squads remain, Zone 1 closing, still everything to play for in World's Edge, Mark.
I think I was tracking away Billy as well as they hopscotch away. And you know what? Ivan, who had that one final player, does eventually get shut down, and it's by Roadhouse here. Fuda finishes the finishing shots with that G7 scale at distance. Now, they're looking to see if they can find any more extra spots or a potential players rotating around. As you can see through the tunnel, they do know there's players in there. They're getting some tags, they're getting the calls out from Lady Pexy, making the ping. So do they send it into the tunnel? Do they look to find some more extra KP early on here in this lobby? We'll find out soon enough, I'm sure, because on the
I don't think it's worth it, to be honest, Mark. I really don't think it's worth it, because however you look at it, Pexy and Co have a really good spot where the zones pull in. They've got the legends to hold the fort in that point. Maybe they peek in the edge of the tunnel, but full sending it is very, very dangerous, because there's still 18 squads. But nevertheless, Mizzy is just encroaching on the space. So maybe you're right, they're feeling, hey, we need some kills, we need to start climbing that board. We had a big game. Pexy staying well and truly back right now, trying to hold the fort with Caustic, but we've got to be so acutely aware, because however you look at it, Fuda and Mizzy will not be able to get back to Pexy if someone decides to land on it.
Yeah, well, it looks like they managed to get out here as well, as they do make their way towards where, well, another Convergent member yourself, of Waddle, somewhere nearby, and they've just jumped on top, and Get Rush does get taken down. All of a sudden, you're going to be in a difficult situation here as well, because they've just got out of what was a strong position, but realizing there's players around them. Waddle is looking to try and finish off some players here, and that might be down.
Getting back into the game, nice to see from Waddle, but gets knocked as well. Going to be quickly revived, but Team Vindex right now getting active Volts back on his feet, and he'll love me saying that because he hates the name, his old name. But Vindex getting the reset on Waddle. They're just going to heal up. They don't need to try and force anything right now. They just need to stay alive, pick at the sides, eat away at other people's health and utility, their healables, and then maybe get involved later as the zone starts to close. But yeah, Despicable dealing some damage outside the zone and hoping to try and get some additional damage onto players who've lost Samurai Sky.
Yeah, and Blake's just keeping an eye on them as well from outside, so Despicable is going to start making a rotate one way or the other. But I think Blake's actually down, so it is, yeah, it's just Topraxki who is actually alive, trying to keep the team alive and kicking. They will go down to the ring eventually from Blake, because, you know, it's so close to the very edge, and they finally find the loot, and they'll just make sure they get all the extra loot that they need before they make their way past Landslide and head towards the epicenter where our zone and most of the teams are starting to accumulate and get themselves into a position north of the map here. We've got the team of Katana chasing Hartley as well over to the eastern side, but then after that everybody else is pretty much trying to find a spot to keep themselves for endgame.
Yeah, it's an interesting one when we look at the map, because a lot of teams have obviously taken up space already. It looks as though we've got a big fight right now again between Fallout and Scarlet Eyes. Fallout returning fire, just trying to get a thirst right now. Is it going to be enough? DJ Killer, 1 HP, and it's Billy. Swings in with a Mozam and delivers justice there and then. Fallout taken back to the lobby right now. Waving goodbye to teammates from past weeks right there. Scarlet Eyes getting a full reset, uncontested, bizarrely, all the way up in Climber. Because everyone else is still rotating, Mark. Trying to get some kills outside the zone over by Overlook. It's not looking good for Team Hartley, because however you look at it, you've got people like Effect and Hackis, very aggressive players. We just holding the fort further north, making sure that everything is okay. She's going to pick away at the sides. But yeah, it's looking as though Katana are going to try and get some additional kills. But over to PXL, over in the tunnel, leading into survey, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. They're just peeking around different angles there. They've got a way out here as well, but nobody's wanting to push in there because it's pretty much a death wish probably for yourself and your speed. But Kitana would jump on board. They do knock down Theodora, and Rogue follows quite quickly afterwards, and now it's just a hunt down here as you've got the Horizon in the sky looking to jump right on top of the final member of Team Hartley. And the wingman shots are good, and they connect. Effect. We're not going to miss those shots. He's now the kill leader. 4 kills.
Something else, right?
It's disgusting, isn't it? It is disgusting.
It's just something else. It makes it look so easy, gliding around. And how broken is that Horizon perk when you compare the drone to, say, Lifelines, which, I don't know, it's amazing to see Horizon just sneaking back into sort of observation and maybe some sort of contention, certainly in these lobbies. Much needed buff to her toolkit, and what a way to do it with some of that new movement. But Scarlet Eyes even being gifted the mythic bin. The mythic bin for free. They're still uncontested at Climber because everyone thought it was going to Survey. Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, you know, who doesn't know what's going there is Bankai, who are fighting now with Kitana just at the bottom after Kitana had just finished off a team. Now they've got to deal with the leaders of the lobby. And can they do just that and put them out and stop them? Potentially getting the points needed to get to that match point threshold. Or has Bankai already got there? That's the question. No, they've got 1 KP so far, so definitely not on match point threshold as things stand. And King has took a ton of damage. Hackett though is down on the other hand, so you're going to have to effect with that wingman doing exactly what he just did to Team Hartley if he possibly can. He goes to the skies, and this time the shots were connecting, but eventually he does get them down, and Kings does fall. That takes some time, but eventually, once again, goes to the skies of Horizon, looking to do just that as Belleru does find Sack down, and all of a sudden it is just one player left remaining here, and that is Vulcan on Twitch, taking his way out as quickly as possibly, but he's a caustic, he's not that fast, and he's been chased down and eliminated. Bankai are out without getting to match point threshold.
Yeah, they're not going to make it, and you know what? Effect, like, I bet he didn't even break a sweat. If I was doing that in my game, my heart would be racing, my nails would be biting somehow, despite holding my controller. It's effortless play. Dancing with Horizon, with a wingman. Talk about confidence, but Team Maple now under pressure. The Thermites coming in. Can they keep themselves going? Because it's only we in effect right now. It's a 2v3, but Maple just doesn't like this engagement, making the decision to just disengage, and Kitana are just going to just nicely fly themselves over to the bridge and hope that they're in a better spot. So taking tracks all the way to the north, but now teams are just heavily fighting deep inside of Epi, and you see that kill feed is getting busy. Pupsiki have managed to lose Oirain. Get rushes down. It's going to be a lone as death soon. Maple's now just peeking at the sides, safe in the zone, hoping to get some KP.
Yeah, with Maple having to be forced into the zone there and forced away out of that fight from Kitana. They get themselves into a fight themselves, but they do get a kill. But Pupsky, they said there was one remaining player. Not anymore. Maple finished them off, and Maple looking to try and finish off another, but Paggy will go down. They'll manage to get out though, but how long will they survive here? It's going to be Sweater. Gets shut down as well. Before you know it, Team Maple are quickly eliminated, and that is going to be an unfortunate ending already, because that was 10th spot, and you know what, you were kind of forced into that area that you probably didn't want to go there that quickly, all because of Kitana's motion from behind, and realised that, you know what, we're going to have to go there. We got a couple of KP, but eventually he shut down quite quickly afterwards and won't get the lobby points for being in a better position, sadly. But that's just how it goes. Now Blake is in and about that same area, and he's going to have to try and be on his own because the rest of his team are still not up and kicking yet, and that is unfortunate if you are Blake, because he's been in a difficult position on his own for quite some time so far now, because Topscray and Samurai Ski did fall quite earlier on there, and he's just trying to rat it out for a little bit until he can find a way towards a respawn beacon opportunity.
Indeed, indeed. I just want to call out something. There was only one well, no, now there's two people in the zone. It is Waddle and Pexi. Pexi does not surprise me in the slightest. She's just so aware of her zone reads. A Watson main from back in the day. just holding down the fort all the way in the north as Despicable try and fight their way up the hill. Despicable in a tough spot because it may only be a lone Waddle watching those rocks, but every other team trying to find some spots on that south side of the zone right now. Despicable managed to find themselves in a little bit of a safe spot, but Roadhouse just sending that drill down, dealing some damage. It's Fuda, Shiro and Tackleton go down to Fuda with some great shots and the RE. And great return fire as well from Zuni. The awareness just off the charts with them, but not enough. Despicable go down, and Roadhouse are going to get a slight opportunity for a reset right now. But they've got to reset now, Mark, because everyone's fighting on the south. It's going to be enough. They get the reset, and then they're going to take control of that northwestern side in a great spot. Katana also in a big fight as well over in the east, managing to mop up the remains of Scarlet Eyes.
Your speak about Lady Pexy being in the zone and reading the zone. Well, guess what? In God's spot, she took out Waddle as well. And now they are looking to try and close this one out. If you're Roadhouse, you're in a great spot. You've got 3 more teams to deal with, right? That is all you need to do. But Fuda has been absolutely gunning the lobby so far. And look at this. Is he going to do it again? He does get another knock, and it's next. And guess what? Noor eliminated top 3. We go. But you still have Katana into this lobby. And you have got none other than Skoden looking to fight their way for a new winner here in game number 3 over in World's Edge. Who was going to take this one?
Yeah, I mean, however you look at it, Roadhouse are in a really, really great spot. They've got 10 KP already, but 11 KP is Katana. Everyone vying to obviously take the win. Katana pushing. We've had a knock with the Kraber on Mizzy, so Roadhouse are down
baby.
one. It's going to be getting hairy because Skoden are going to push up off this Kraber knock, but Katana have recognised that. Katana have taken the train tracks area. Mizzy not able to get back up. Fully eliminated. Roadhouse down to a duo in this very trying time, but Hackis is down as well. But give effect that wingman. Horizon and a wingman still enough. Skoden just trying to reset nicely, setting up with that Newcastle, and they've still got the Kraber. Skoden slowly but surely getting some slight advantage. Looking down on what remains, it looks to be Skoden's win. There you have it. A lovely great patience from Skoden. They managed to take it, force the fight between the remains of Roadhouse and the remains of Katana, Mark. What a great end game. It ended so quickly because of all these counter pulls. People were over in Survey, then they were over towards Climber, and then it pulled back, and there was only a few players, Roadhouse included, who recognised that and kept the space. But it wasn't enough to secure the win, because that's the way it goes. The Kraber can just tilt the battle in your favour. And you called it as soon as that shot came down. Skoden with the Kraber knock. What a fantastic end game to game number 3.
Exactly that, and you got to see the lovely little replay there from the free cam. That was phenomenal to see. But wow, what a way to do it! You hit that crabby shot, you're like, right, we are going, we're full sending it, realizing everybody is now starting to fight. As soon as you see Hackis go down in that lobby as well, like you're like, right, there's an opportunity now. You've got the chance to close them out. But look at what that's done to the leaderboard, right? Roadhouse, Despicable, Katana, they've came out of almost nowhere and just went boom. We're in that top 4 already. We are not far behind Bankai, because Bankai went out earlier and only managed to secure a couple of points in that last lobby. We go into game number 4. We're going back to World's Edge.
The nerves have got to be shot now, Mark, because however you look at it, like some of those teams from 2nd to 4th, they have equal or more kills than Bankai, who are sitting comfortably at the top right now. But sitting uncomfortably, perhaps, because 8 points away from match point, weren't able to connect at this moment in time. But nevertheless, you cannot rule anyone out, because Skoden, with that victory, in 5th place with 26 points, and however you look at it, it's still anyone's game. All you need is that one big victory, and you carry that into the next one. Game 3's over. We get ready for game number 4. Anything can happen.
100%. We're back to World's Edge. We go into game 4. But before we go into game 4, Scott, we'll take a short break there. We'll come back and we'll get to see game number 4 and see where that's going to change. Are we going to have a different winner again? Are we going to have a back-to-back winner potential from Skoden trying to do it back again on World's Edge? Because this is one of the few times you're going to see back-to-back games on the same map. So let's see what we've got coming up next, but we'll be back in just a short moment.
We are back again, ready in game number 4. Like Mark said, are we going to see a rare back-to-back, or are we going to see someone else just claw their way up that leaderboard? We are going to be resetting the lobby, so we're going to have a little bit of an opportunity to yap it through and just break it down a little further. So really quite impressed with how this leaderboard is shaping up, Mark. We're seeing teams just going with full aggression style. So teams like Despicable rocking a Revenant right now. Highly unlikely Revenant is going to be played to the point where he gets a ban, actually. They're allowing themselves a position where they can just remain consistent. They're mixing it with some really good sort of legends with Maggie. They were going to go Fuse for game number 4, not to spoil it for anyone, but Maggie, Fuse, and Revenant, that triple aggression, that is just telling me that people are going to be fighting for KP, continuing the aggro up until match point, and then maybe slowing down the game plan after there, because at the end of the day, you can't continue to run down lobbies and always expect to come out on top. Not in lobbies like this. You've got to be able to learn how to play slow and learn to play that zone. But you may as well run it down to get the KP and get to the threshold before you go for the win, right?
Yeah, exactly that. Using that triple threat, like you said, just use that to your advantage. Get the points on the board where you can through the key Ps as quickly as you possibly can, and run the lobby where you can, because obviously you can't run the whole lobby because, like you said, there's so much quality in this lobby. It's very hard to run the whole show yourself. Bankai were doing a great job and were looking to take a good, strong overall lead. But the way that Despicable, Katana, Roadhouse have all come back into the action with the kills that they brought onto that board, then a good few placements in the end for the last couple of games has put them right back into contention and knock that score to more than, well, even better than halfway to what they were at before, because they were already like 20 points clear. Now they're very much under 10 points clear of second spot. Not even at threshold either yet. So they still have got to find at least 8 points to get to that match point thresholds. And you know what? It's anybody's game. I feel like anybody in this lobby can still do that. We've seen before that last game, Katana were over exactly where New is just now in 13th spot. And all it needs is New to do something similar. They just need a good game from them, a couple of KPs, and before you know it, they may be in top 4. That's how quickly the leaderboard shifts with a few KP and a good bit of placement going into this one. And now that you know that Bankai, Roadhouse, Despicable are around you, you know where your landing spots are for World's Edge, you know who's going to be in around you early on, and you might know where you wish to kind of avoid to start this game going forward because of how the last game kind of pulled out.
And maybe that's the mindset that is causing these teams to slip down the board, Mark, where they're trying to avoid people. Maybe they need to match that aggression with aggression. You can't let people like Effect just dance around on Horizon, landing wingman shots like we were watching. You've got to be able to put that pressure back onto them and then try and come back. But we're seeing teams like PXL who were incredibly consistent throughout the entirety of the qualifying weeks, almost always in the top end of their leaderboards, in the bottom side of it. And we're seeing Popsike as well at the low end of the board, and we've seen them sprout and have massive games. Do you remember a couple of weeks back, we just seen them constantly dominating? It was kill after kill after kill, like 30-point games and so on, and we're just not seeing that tonight. And it just goes to show, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Some of it is RNG, some of it is just the players and how they are on the day. Can they get a little bit of luck on their side to see that momentum flip? And maybe we'll be strapping in for a long night of match point, because it is only game number 4. You thought it was going to be a seven game day. I'm actually feeling that if we see another shift in the leaderboard and Bankai doesn't quite make it, or maybe some of these others don't, we could actually see a prediction come true. But I'm still going to keep the faith. I think it's still going to be 6 games, because those teams on the top end of the board, Mark, I don't think they're going to slow things down.
Yeah, you'd think not. You would think not. You said that though, but Bankai the next game did kind of slow it down because they got forced to, unfortunately. But yeah, when you've got 5 teams up there that are very much good teams that you expect to be there or thereabouts for winning the tournament, you're very unlikely that they're all going to slow it down, right? That's for sure. They're not just all going to have a really bad day and come out in 2019 all the way down to 15th. That's just not going to be the case. But as we get in to World's Edge for game number 4. We'll get to see where this ring will start to pull us, and obviously the same drop zones as they were previously. So players stuck in that sandwich there between Thermal Station and launch site, between Despicable, Katana, and Bankai. If I was players, I would hate that drop zone after realizing where everybody around you is. But you know what? At least you're close to zone this time round, right?
Absolutely. And you know what? I really do think we've got potential to see some of those teams bounce. The ones that we haven't seen much of. PXL being one of them. Maybe we can see some magic from teams like Vindex or Last New. Like continuing to see that potential come from them, because it's looking as though we're going to be going all the way down to either Geyser, Big Mod area. Maybe we'll get a counter pull over to the sort of north side of Siphon. But a lot of teams that have had it a little bit easy in terms of the zone pools and not had to worry too much about their rotate are now going to have to consider, how do we actually go on the rotate rather than just locking down with legends like, say, Caustic or other would-be legends. But with that said, Caustic's still in the game. We have the opportunity to see some big Control Legend games. We're seeing a couple of Catalysts even crop in alongside the Gasman and Rampart teams as well. Big fight about to break out over in Dome. Despicable wanting to get the kills early up against No Name. Vamp taking some big shots, and then look at that. Shiro just sending it. No worries. Full faith. I can win that. 1v1. An easy kill from Shiro there.
Yeah, Legaton put the legs, and so did Riley, and got out of the way in his zone for that chase and hunting it down. But I mentioned Geyser in the last lobby because I was like, oh yeah, is it there? Is there? Guess what? That's where the ring pull was pulling this time. It's almost like I preemptively did it, but just the wrong day. Like the wrong map, the wrong selection. That was what it was. I knew it was going there. I was like, where is Geyser again? Oh yeah, that's where it is going next game. Sorry, I was meant to say that earlier on, but we see it's pulling down there, and you're going to have the teams of Katana already inside that zone. There's a few other teams already making their way, so they have got that information to know it's heading in and around that way between Big Mod, Geyser, potentially Harvester, close edge corner, exactly where Lava Siphon is. So we've got a chance of it being quite a nice end zone here. Skoden, though, who we just seen win that game, have already dropped Ren Ascent, but they're going to get that recovery. Hopefully, if they don't get full sent here towards it, because they are down below, but he's got some great sight lines up here, and at the height, we're using that G7 scout at least to keep that player pinned back a little bit so they don't chase down Ren and kinda and get that kill completely. But Zach, oh my god, whose shots were those? That was absolutely crazy. The Riot Drill doing so much work here from Nyx, and now Skoden once again are back down to 2.
Yeah, really like aggressive push there from Nu, and it was perfect. It was as it should be. Getting an early knock, Ren, and kinda okay. They've still got time. There's not much to worry about, because however you look at it, the zone prio, it's less likely that they're going to have much trouble coming round on the northern side. So they're going to have a good opportunity to reset and potentially come down all the way from the south to southwestern side, or even just brave it, go right through Monument, try and take a space in the north. So yeah, really good play. But switching over to Team Hartley, already facing off against Roadhouse, standout team in terms of their zone calls. How are they going to cope with trying to get into space when they've not had the luxury of prio? Or they could have. They're just maybe not, well, capitalising on it at this point. They started in Monument and they're only still getting out of it. But Hartley shooting down, raining fire from above, and there comes the Sparrow. It's going to be enough to just force out cover. Pexi goes down, Hartley getting a nice shot there with a longbow, no less. Mizzy returning fire with the triple take. It is a 2v2 situation, but damage is aplenty right now. Pexi going to have to try and keep that knockdown up, because with the height advantage, Team Hartley are going to be in a good spot. You've got to be so careful, Mark, because anyone who gets a little bit trigger happy or hears the action still on a rotate, it could be a dangerous third party. But Hartley still swinging out, doing some good damage right now.
I was going to say this was already a third party, because it was them that took out PXL, and it looks like they're about to eliminate Roadhouse as well, and they have done so. So Hartley have got 2 teams that they have marked up on that scoreboard, exactly what they need, because PXL were trying to stay alive for as long as possible. Now we're on board with Fallout here as well, and it's all down to rain. In the meantime, Ivan does go down here into 17th spot. You can see Effect getting some kills in the lobby as well, Floating going down as well. So there's a lot of action going on in and around the map. It is all important here. If we can see, looking to try and finish this off though. Effect side by side and Fallout are eliminated. How does he win that there? I have no idea. But he just went down to 1 HP, and then before you know it, he'd won that gunfight. And it is Effect. That's just what he does. That is just what he does.
We rock a Mirage as well. I love to see it. A little bit of Mirage love. He can do everything. And you know what? Best way to play support when you've got teammates like that. Really, really great job. OR9 breaking into a fight over in Geyser right now. But we've also got a fight in Tree. Bankai managing to get a knock right now. Vilsia on the kill feed right now. Taking down Legatron right now. So no name down to just a solo. Riley's just going to get out of dodge. So Bankai just slowly building up those points, Mark. Cutely aware right now. Hey, right now we've got 3 points. We've got 1 placement, 2 kills. We've got to keep climbing. We need to hit match point today after this game. They've got to do it, Mark, because however you look at it, with teams like Effect and Katana and so on having such a good day, he cannot slow the pace down. Vindex eliminated in the kill feed as well, going out in 50.
There you go, Bell. There's this marvelous Mirage recovery. And guess what? It's them running it down. Another team up mates eliminated there. Katana looking strong and not slowing down like we says they would not do. Riley's managed to get the banners as well for No Name, but now needing to try and look for a chance to get that reset for the rest of No Name to get back into the lobby. We're down to 14 squads remaining, but the map is starting to get interesting here because there's still so many teams that are not in circle that are having to make their way into the zone, but they're going to be watched by in Katana, who's pretty much edge watching the whole western side of that map.
Yeah, it's a tough one because they are just going to bully it. But Popsike trying to get off to something, Mark. They are patrolling. They're down in Respawn Village right now in the No Name. And Billy is just going to be running for his life. Sadly, not on a crypto right now, which would have been handy to try and recover those banners. But he's going to be all the way up at Epi getting scanned. And Popsike just thinking, nah, I'm bored. I'm not going to go for that. And the wise decision, really. It's only a solo. You don't need to try and throw your chances of getting a good position just for 1 solo, especially when it's pulling into the Geyser way. They want to try and take control of that choke and play down. But other fights breaking out by the look of it. Some great free camming from our production team right there. But Katana back on the march again, laying down some fire against Team Nu. This is a team that clearly got bored of the game after playing scrims and coming to this. Great fire there from Orbit, managing to take both Hackis and Effect down and getting out of dodge as the third party comes in. Because Katana get eliminated. Bankai with a perfectly timed third party taking out the bullies of game number 4.
Yeah, exactly what Bankai want to do as well. They don't want another team close to them on that match point threshold, especially the likes of Katana. So they do the third party work and get the job done, eliminate them before they can keep mounting more scores on the doors. And that is good for them because that's also more points for them getting towards that threshold, which is very much closing in. And we might be seeing our first team on match point come the end of this lobby. Obviously can't win it even if they reach it. Yeah.
It doesn't seem unreasonable, Mark. I think you're right. But another fight breaking out. We've got No Name and players right now in the kill feed. Topraske is down. Samurai Sky, a slither of health, whereas No Name are just patrolling on the roof of their building. They're just going to mop this up to try and get a clear walk up on the southwestern side, and they do it with ease. Nu being found as well. Orbit, despite those great shots on Hackers and Effect, down in a badly timed grenade just in as the door closes. No Name under pressure as Hartley now want to try and kill them off before the zone's going to be touching their backs. It is only round 2. People not really in the mood for a big end game this time round, Mark, because it's 11 squads remain.
Yeah, and it could shortly be only 10 there, as No Name's getting a lot of pressure here from Hartley, but then following on behind them is going to be Bankai as well, trying to get involved once again, and going to see if he can get some sentinel shots hitting here. He's going to track it. He's going to get the throw. that shot was just about to connect there, unfortunately for them. But the pings that are coming out here for the crypto is giving them all the information they need to try and tag these players up. There's the Mackie Joe going in there as well. That's going to do a lot of damage to drop them down. Now, EMP charged, ready to go. King's looking for that hunt. Shaq though will go down in the meantime, and now is trying to finish off that player. He's literally 1 HP as well, but he doesn't know that. He's not seen the little scoreboard that we are seeing, and King will go down. Now Volsa in the position to try and do it as the beacon. He's going to have to collect the banners and then just try and get out of there with their life.
Very, very wise call. Fly that drone up high. Do not let it get found, because you will stay invisible and get half a chance of getting that reset. Just a really unfortunate third-party situation as Skoden came in for the kills. The winners of the last game now putting pressure on to Team Hartley and the team that just won, or sorry, are in first place. But Skoden now under pressure. Team Hartley getting some massive damage in the trade-off. And meanwhile, who gets out of dodge? Bankai managed to collect the beacons amidst all that chaos. Bankai are going to get the reset. Fantastic play from Volsia there to get the reset. An instant revive. Now getting the drone out and immediately scanning for the threat to the south. It is Team Hartley that they've got to be so careful of, but they've also got to find some space in this very congested space within Geyser. Or not as congested as it could be, but in the meantime, other fights breaking out. Despicable and No Name also fighting out at Stacks Mark. It's getting hairy. It's thinning out the lobby fast.
It's definitely thinning fast, and they've got that coming in past them, behind them. The storm is ticking quicker and quicker. It's closing in. Despicable has just got Zuni left to try and do everything possible to keep their team in, but that Sparrow's going to track him as well, so they're going to try to chase him down. The Bangalore smoke's going to have to come out to try and keep him undetected for a little bit, but that is not going to keep him undetected. Well, that Sparrow is about and trying to go for the no-scope. Kraber, it's unfortunate. Despicable will go down. Legatron, though, is potentially going to go down here as well. Maybe not. No, they'll be all right. They've got plenty of time to get that reset and bring Vamp back into the action. Big Mod is where they're having to come from, but you know what, like you said, it's spinning out very quickly. We have 8 teams remaining in this lobby. You've got a full Bankai reset once again, so they're still fighting their way out. Hartley, 9 kills so far. They're looking great in this lobby. They still need to make their way into zone, but they've got Bankai following up from behind them, so this is going to be interesting if they can get themselves out here. And by the looks of it, with that Sentinel connecting shots like that, I don't think Hartley's going to survive long.
Yeah, really good damage there from Team Bankai. The walk up on Hartley, despite still having some Blue Evo in the team, there's enough pressure to make them recognize, hey, we don't really want to take this fight. But Voltaire right now getting ratted on from behind, unable to get the kill on Volsia. Despite that, it's going to be my router that gets out of it as well. OR9 just unable to connect those shots in that key moment. And however you look at it, teams now just fighting to try and get a space in what remains a zone. Only 8 squads, so there's plenty of space to be played. But Bankai right now have got to be counting those points, got to be thinking, are we close? And they're going to be knocking on it. They just have to survive that little bit longer mark, and then we could have a team on match point. I didn't take advantage of the break though, Mark, so a little bit of wee might have came out if we did have that big shot there from Zuni before, but No Name are just going to be listening in on this. They've got the Kraber and they're looking down on all this action as it breaks out. Bankai have got to move quickly, my friend.
Oh, why have you done this to me? I can't stop coughing now because you got me laughing. That's unfortunate, but yeah, Bankai is very much in a difficult position, but not as difficult as their fellow enemy, and that's OR9, who's already trying to make their way out. Still blue shields as well, and that's going to make it easier for Bankai if they do want to go there. Team at Hartley, like I said, wouldn't last long, and guess what? They didn't last much longer. They were the next team to go down in the lobby, but OG Rain versus Twitch, and you're going to have Team Maple all close in this edge of Geyser, looking to try and stay inside that zone, but also out of harm's way. And that is a great amount of damage done to try and get themselves open, but the Newcastle shield might block some of this shots, and it does do for so long. And there's Rampart in there as well, and who's going to come out on top here? Popsky jumping and diving in and about these shields, and it will be Team Maple that will go down. Pupsky is keeping that one going, and now potentially have to worry about a third party coming in here as well because there's so many players around.
What is going on in this room? Newcastle walls, Rampart walls, potential gas from the caustic, drills going everywhere. It's just utter chaos, but Popsky managed to win that fight. And you know what? A team that's been very quiet today, Syntrix, still in the lobby right now, haven't got a kill on the board yet, still rocking the blue Evo, but made the decision to try and get some of the north side of zone and pick at the side. So a wise decision to disengage from Syntrix when it was getting a little hairy there, getting down some walls as No Name overlook down and loot up as well. But however you look at it, Mark, I think Lust, another team who've been quite quiet, are in a really good spot right now because there's so many teams that need to rotate in, and Lust are holding a good spot and the building side. If they can pressure enough teams on the eastern side of this zone, Lust could make a statement and come back in this game as everyone else fights to get into the zone.
And Bankai do get eliminated as well. I wonder if they've got enough points to secure that match point. They probably have, because that is a 6th spot. And at least 3 kills, I'm sure they had, maybe more as well. So there's a chance that that is, yeah, they had 4 kills. So there's a chance that they are a match point threshold as things stand. But Pupsky, now, they're not on match point threshold. They want to try and get as many more points as they possibly can. But as it stands, Edith is down. Get Rush is about to be downed as well. And OG Rain be finished off, and it is going to be No Name looking to try and get themselves a reset here as well as they start to go down. And before you know it, Syntrix is looking like a great spot here for them. You do have Lust as well. You said is in God spot probably now as things stand. They've got all 3 players remaining. Syntrix have all 3 players, and it is only one more member that's ran it out here for OR9, and it is Outer, none other than him. So he's trying to stay alive, knowing there's players in and around him. This is going to be a new winner in game number 4, and it's of teams that we have not seen do so much so far, but this time they have turned up and looking to add some points on this board. Lust crossing the distance. Maggie ball goes out there as well, and they're looking to try and get the damage, but nothing's ticking, nothing's getting any damage, so that's pretty much a wasted Maggie ball there, I feel like.
Well, in any case, they've got the height and they're doing the damage. It is going to be Lust victory. Better late than never from Team Lust. May as well wake up now because game number 4 goes to Lust. They played a patient game. They played a smart game, and they still managed to chip at the sides and get themselves some good KP. Great little replay there from our free cammers. Fantastic production there just to see the end game finish us up. So Scar, Jay, and Shikaku right now on the board with a statement victory, and no better time to get it because they were hugging pretty much the lower end of the leaderboard. That's got to be enough to just jump them up more than a few spaces, maybe get them into the top 10. But really great game, and I love to see that, Mark, that a lot of the teams that maybe were a little quieter early in the night have managed to jump into contention. There you have it, Lust now in 9th place, but Bankai 1 off match point. So no one is there yet as we get ready to go into game number 5. Are we going to see another change of the guard? Are we going to see more teams who maybe have been a little bit asleep earlier in the night start to wake up and say, now is our time to shine? Because like I said, better late than never, right?
Yeah, always better late than never for sure. That was a much better game there for teams like Lust and Syntrix getting into that end game, getting an opportunity to potentially close it out, and obviously Lust jumping up into 9th spot. That was a massive 11 kills and a 23-point game for them. That just shows you the difference. They've only accumulated 3 points in 3 games, and then they go on and get 23 in 1 game. That's how quickly the things can change around on that leaderboard. You still have nobody on match point at game 4. We're past what I would say is my halfway mark of getting to 7. We're still there, still a chance, but going into game number 5, back to Stormpoint we go. Maggie is your next legend that will be banned as well, so that is going to change things up again. We're going to see a lot of different legends being used throughout this evening, and if it does go past 7, then there's probably even more.
Yeah, E-District's up next, and hey, we had a really, really great game in E-District, right? It was so built up, people were playing a lot of zone, and I think this is the turning point. Teams like Bankai cannot really afford to run at a team and lose the fight, right? Just play it slow. Play it until you get to that 15th spot. Get your 1 KP. Secure that match point. But the teams in second down, they're going to be sending it. They're going to be thinning out the lobby. So Bankai just have to be passive and patient. Still rotate, play smart, get some of that Evo, but let the lobby take care of itself, right? Don't worry about it. However, if someone wants to grief them and try and end their streak, go for an early push, it's very possible, and you may get ever so close to your 7-game prediction.
Maybe. I mean, all they need to do is get 1 point if you're Bankai. Either way, if somebody pushes them, there's a chance to just finish you off and get that kill, right? And then there's still a match point threshold. They could go on 20 if they don't care, or 19th. But if you're going to push them, you have to make sure that you don't get knocked and finished off, because they will be on that power threshold. And that is the difficult task you're going to have, because Bankai have not been going down easily. That is for sure. It is that they've took at least 1 or 2 players with them as they go. It's just making sure they finish off that kill or that knock. If they do get converged upon, if that is ever going to be the case, going into E District here. I'm assuming the draft works is it'll be the same drop zones as they were in their first E District. So looking into it, and we'll get to see exactly where everybody will be going. And you know what? The way that their first game was on on E District game, they finished in 5th place last time round with like 3 kills, so it wasn't their best map for Bankai, and they only got 3 kills. So if they struggle again, it might be difficult to get that 1 point that they need.
We're going to see an early break off again between both Katana and Despicable. They're landing close together. They're both having nights where they're just fully sending it. But we've already got a fight. It is Team Ivan, who just thought, nope, they're going to land close to us. Hyarka off the board already. Sintrix just getting out of dodge. I have to say, I absolutely detest the spot that they've dropped in. I just feel that the loot opportunity is just so poor. However, they're going to get out as a duo. Plenty of time and opportunity to still get that reset. But Ivan, hot on the heels. They want those kills. They want to make the statement game. They're rocking Revenant, Horizon, and Sparrow. They want to change the tide of the battle for them today, Mark. But encroaching on Bankai right now as well is Team Nu. If they manage to get the rat on them, it could be pretty bad for Bankai. We could see a team miss out on match point because Nu are so aware of it. They're hyper aware. They're slow playing it. But the charge senti does not connect. That could have been the initial knock that could have ruined Bankai's game. And there you have it. A nice shot there from Nix to take care of AR. And Volcia goes down as well. This could be down and out for Kings. Could this be where Bankai get eliminated before they even have a chance to get to match point? Going to run away, stay silent, and hope for the best. But you got to be so careful, Mark, because you have a Sparrow on the other team. They can just scan. They can scan the recon. They know where you are. They're just going to send it Bankai back to the lobby, potentially, Mark. Unbelievable.
Yep, King's trying to run away as far away as possible. They can take them Sparrow leaps and bounds. But like you said, there is a chance to chase him down. They're going about to scan it. And guess what? Bankai's done. He's eliminated.
Beautiful shot
Next
there.
with that Senti is going to take Bankai out before they even get a point that they need on that board. But there's still a chance for teams in the board to get that match point threshold. It's just going to take a little bit more points than 1. It'll be at least 11 points needed by 2 teams. Katana and both No Name need 11 points. So they're still going to get a chance to beat.
Aren't they, Mark? They are absolutely grinning from ear to ear. They know they've griefed match point potential. And then another great shot there from Nix to be able to return fire onto Ivan. And Nedlock goes down orbit, and Nix just dealing the damage, dancing in with Horizon right now. The pressure is up.
Nix.
Can Hyarka do something with this? Gets the revive, but goes down at the same time. Nu are on fire. And I love saying their name like that, I have to say. But what a great stand. The third party was just too late. Slab's going to have to try and do something magical as a solo. Is it going to be enough on the Horizon, Mark?
It looks like it is going to be enough so far. They're doing a good job to get themselves back up there, but no, not for long. From the top ropes, he jumps on down, and Envy will shut down if Ivan's opportunity. Nu will be fully reset and ready to go with the loot that's all been brought to them. So very well played early on here for Nu. That's going to be much needed points that they needed, because you know what? haven't needed points, and they were struggling down in 17th spot, and they're going to be even more struggling now that New has taken their lives. And you know what? That's going to put New probably in that top 10 spot if they can continue things as it stands. Currently, PXL though have lost Danda, and it's now going to be a tough fight to try and bring it back, because Sabs will take tons of damage here as well. And will she survive this? That is the question. The alternator though, the shots are good. The Ash is just jumping back and forward. I don't even know where they escaped to, but they managed to get out of harm's way. Just for now.
Yeah, PXL should be in a position where they can get a reset. And just for awareness, there was a fourth party there, but Team Hartley have taken it to Team No, and they are the ones licking their wounds and fleeing. So Team No are going to go again after a fourth party. Great coordination. Team Hartley now on the run. They're having an absolute blinding game to kickstart E-District for the second time. Nick's the kill leader with 1k damage, a Senti, Mozams, and a Dream right now. But switching over to players, we've got another fight breaking out over in the Energy Bank area. Roadhouse now getting involved as well. Lots of fighting on the rotate right now on that northeastern side of the map, miles away from Green Zone, Mark.
Yeah, honestly, it is absolutely crazy to see all these fights on and around the map as it stands. Like, everybody trying to go and force their way towards New are getting eliminated, so you're like, okay, we're not doing that again, because we don't want to be finished off. Pixel, though, have been eliminated, and they will go in 16th spot, followed shortly by Fallout here as they do get eliminated as well, and that'll be them down in 16th, so in 17th spot conversely. So unfortunately for them, that's going to be less chance of getting points on the board, and probably much needed points here for Fallout, because they've been struggling as well so far this evening.
Yeah, and the struggle continues, going out at 16th place, and dare I say it, maybe it is the lack of practice that they had with the way that they were playing with subs over the previous week. So Fallout going to have to coordinate in the lobby as they think about the next steps. But Popsike, who kind of had a little bit of a splash game in the last one, fighting amidst Chaos and Geyser, just going to try and hold a spot. Maybe let the kills come to them. They know they need a big one. Look at that, the Evo swaps. They're clearly just sharing some of the amp potential between Legends. But Get Rush taking a lot of damage as well. Lots of teams in this area just setting up for a possible big endgame.
Yeah, you've got a lot of people down towards the street market way that have all been fighting Zuni and the kill of Despicable. Dropped 2 players, but they managed to get 1 back of Zuni. So they're going to have to get the reset back onto Shiro, because Shiro did get finished off. You haven't seen Katana whatsoever here. They're very far north here in Boardwalk, nowhere near the action. Whereas you've got players, they are in the action, and they are going to try and see what they can do. Trying to watch Kinda and Ren from Skoden on the other side. Zach's obviously down already, but Ren and Kinda might get that reset because they've got that Newcastle, so Zach does get up, but Ren will follow shortly, and Zach follows not far afterwards here as well. So it looks like the players are going to finish him off here, and Kinda trying to fight for his life and his team's life. The snap on, he almost does it, but Skoden will eliminate it already in 15th, and that's going to be players coming out on top. Nobody near them, so there won't be a worry of a third party, thankfully for them, so they'll get a full reset as lost the winners of our last game. Going to try and make the way into the zone.
Yeah, Blake's been having a really blinding game on team players. I feel like Blake's been really, really consistent throughout the day. Maybe the team isn't shining so much on the board, but just feels like he's constantly dealing all the damage. But Lust, after their standout victory, losing the horizon there with Nyx. So not looking too good for them right now, but they are putting enough pressure on it. It's a 2v2 situation between Hartley and Nu, so it's possible they might get a reset. Scarlet Eyes on the screen just now instead, just locking down some space. We haven't seen much aggression from Scarlet Eyes in a couple of games. I don't feel they've been able to make things connect, Mark, so perhaps this is going to be the game. Do we see Scarlet Eyes, who were dominating in the early weeks, qualifying in the first week with a standout game? Can they just, I don't know, bottle that lightning and come back again a second time today?
Yeah, they're going to have to try and see if they can do it. Sitting in 10th spot currently as it stands. Definitely not lighting things up as they were earlier on in the And now, after 4 games have gone, still trying to find their feet in completely. But we've got 40 squads still remaining left at this zone, right? Which is probably a little bit more than we did in the last game, which is good to see. But they're all starting to fight for positioning here in the market. And it could be a very, very tricky situation because you've got teams fighting in from the edge, trying to make their way in, and one of them is going to be Katana. Despicable just making their way in after getting the reset is going to be pretty much in the best spot to watch everybody else north of them. But it's just going to be a very interesting end game here because Hartley, they're having to get a full reset as well. They're still waiting to get Rogue back in to the action, and then heading towards the draft point to get a spot to look out over everybody else in that zone. Is it, as it stands, potentially chance to kind of vie for that top 10 is on the cards for them. But there's teams that are going to be close to fighting in the zone. Waddle and Miza are already fighting inside the building. But the Sheila Enjoyer of Cintrix will go down. Vindix will win that gunfight. And Waddle now looking to try and get his body fully recovered because of third party's opportunities coming in.
Much needed. Waddle with some really, really good damage there, but they needed that Vindex. They've been really quiet for most of the night. Misa getting a couple of kills there on the board. Hopefully they can connect into something much, much more fruitful, such as a victory. But players right now still rocking the rotate and going for more kills outside the zone, no less. So they've got to be acutely aware of what's happening because zone 3 is starting to tick down. And however you look at it, Mark, there's a lot of people between them and the safety of the zone. So maybe an opportunity nonetheless.
Players are going on the absolute hunt here for Katana. After knocking Effect down, they'll end up losing one of their players themselves, but they're still not giving up the ghost, and they're still looking to try and find Hackers and Belarus in and around the area where they possibly can. It is very brave from players that I know they want the points, right? That's exactly what they're here for, and that's what they're trying to do because they know team like Katana are close to that match point threshold. They also need to get points themselves, and if they put them out, that is 2 birds, 1 stone. But speaking about 2 birds, 1 stone, another single shot there, but Lust will fall next. Our winners of our previous match will be shut down by Despicable. And like I said, Despicable's got a great spot in zone as things stand. Everybody else having to make their way towards them after what's been a few fights on the outside. And in draft point, you're going to have 3 teams also vying for a position and looking at each other as Nyx takes some shots towards New, by the looks of things.
Indeed, but Road has been one of those teams, and when it's so congested on that side, there's not much you can play unless you go under the bridge. Some teams have got to try and opt for the safety of the low ground, which sounds bizarre to say, but it could be one of the few opportunities to try and get into the zone. But Roadhouse losing Pexi, not ideal, but it's not impossible to do something with it. Getting stunned in the zone right now, it's the worst possible time. Mizzy just having to pop that medkit, and look at that! A no shot, a no scope, sorry, with the Kraber, and then following up with the Mozams. What a beautiful shot. Excellent call by production to just switch to that and catch it. But Mizzy is just going to continue to keep popping those medkits and try and play this one as a solo as Katana joined the fight, recognizing. And I wouldn't have expected to see these guys still rocking blue Evo at this point of the game. They are obviously feeling it. They want to wake up. Look at that tracking from Effect. This is why he's one of the best in the game, Mark. Unbelievable tracking.
Best in the world at this point. Yeah, he's fantastic tracking skills and takes out New. Roadhouse, like we mentioned, down to just 1 is Mizzy. Katana still trying to find out if they can potentially find the remainder of Team Hartley and the remainder of Roadhouse, but in effect, managing to take a lot of damage, losing the shield in that crossing there with that Horizon, but at least still alive and kicking, and we'll get a reset easily from here on out. No name. Or are they looking to have a nosy over with that 30-30 in hand? Gonna get some scans across the way, across all these buildings. Who's in the best spot as things stand for this new zone? Waddle and Misa, they're perfectly centered as things stand.
Yeah, they just need to play quiet at this point. Everyone needs to rotate into them. And another team that's been pretty quiet as of late is Team Maple. Team Maple and Popsicle coexisting right now in the same building, and it's looking as if people are getting a little antsy, wanting to try and do something with it. So the only teams that look to be searching for a fight, but however it's played, they're putting down the rampart walls, and then the walls are getting destroyed, but no one is looking at this, which is so bizarre. So Team Maple, Roadhouse being eliminated in the meantime. Nice shots there from Pagey there. So just going to try and hold that building and hope that they can keep alert enough where Popsicle do not just surprise them. The good thing is there's no altars or anything like that, but you've got Sparrow, you've got Caustic, you've got Legends that could easily breach the building. Bang with the smokes, quick gas, and look at that. We're seeing a little bit of what looks to be an exploit right now on Get Rush. Just trying to see through the ceiling. I don't know if that was just my perspective right now. The players now trying to share that building as well. It's getting hairy on the south side. Teams that are going to be patient could win this one. It looks as though Despicable could be in a really, really good spot for the later game, Mark.
Yeah, definitely are in a great spot, but who isn't is players as they get eliminated here. Effect finishing off in the final player, but Taxkin does take down Waddle, but Waddle is in the safety, surely inside. OR9 falls in 9th spot, and it's going to be Katana trying to take this fight here as well. And they're going to be able to jump away from it because you know what? They're like, no, we're not wanting to take that. That's floating, that's Billy, that's Kyrie. We'll get away from Scarlet Eyes as quickly as possible. And instead, they jump down on board beside Deodora, one member of Team Hartley who is spread apart from his teammate of Hartley. And they're going to have to be worried about where they are at this point in time because they're so far apart from each other that if one goes down, there's no way of getting that reset.
Yeah, it's looking good for Katana. They've got the height. They just need to play down. If they can hold off Scarlet Eyes, Katana are going to be in a good spot. But Despicable, as much as I called it, having to be forced out of the rotate and then just get picked off at the sides because it is Team No Name just sending it down to Despicable right now, sending all the util that they can because they are still rocking some blue Evos. They know they need to do something with it because however you look at it, you're fighting both a Conduit and a Revenant. The combination that used to be so deadly back in the day in rank before that had to get an inevitable nerf. The Scarlet Eyes also just trying to lock down some space so they can't be wrapped on. It's still really anyone's game at this point. Whoever wins the fight on the western side probably gets picked off by either Team Maple or Popsicle, and then it's just left who is fighting in the zone. Could be hairy pretty soon, Mark.
It definitely looks like it's a way to start getting really hairy here. Down to Zuni, you've got Deodora, the final remaining member of Team Hartley. He is stuck between Katana, not getting anywhere or not moving. He is staying hidden, but he's inside the zone. He will probably fall inside the zone potentially as well, unless he manages to get away. But like you said, so many teams vying for that 1 or 2 buildings that are just on the edge and inside that zone. Bam, taking down Zuni in that kill feed here. You're going to see Scarlet Eyes taking going into that battle, but it is going to be floating. It gets dropped. Kairo falls quite quickly afterwards. It's all down to Billy, but it's going to be a Hackison effect that's doing the work to try and take out Scarlet Eyes. Billy, can they stay alive, or are they going to be completely eliminated? Vindix falls before them though, so that's extra points on the board. If you're Scarlet Eyes, you'll be happy with that, but that's a good wee jump up. But Scarlet Eyes eventually shut down a Katana, with the kill leader once again being effect. 5 kills he has to his name in this lobby, not followed after by Despicable. And inside the building now you're going to have even more action as Team Maple will be taking a fight inside using the Newcastle wall to keep alive as well. So that's going to be absolute chaos down there before Katana get involved for the potential finish up of this overall win.
They managed to find the rat. A little bit of hide and seek there, but Hartley being found by effect. He's like a bloodhound. He knows the hiding spots. He knew you were around. But Katana absolutely clearing their back right now. They're going to play down from the height. I'm feeling it's going to be a Katana victory unless they just get overexcited, to be honest, Mark. If they win it, they're clearly going to be walking up to match point, but you can't rule out some of these other teams. They could still try and put a stop to it. Popsicle, Katana, No Name, and Team Maple, who's been relatively quiet since Storm Point after the first standout game that they had there, but really nice shots. No Name on the low ground, however. It's going to be a tough one for them because they've got Horizon. They can get up with Horizon, which is good, but what is waiting as soon as you get up those walls? You've got no recon capability right now outside of Sparrow. But those teams coexisting in that that south building, going to be watched from the north by Katana. Katana are just going to have an easy mop-up, an easy victory, I think, Mark.
Yeah, this is just going to be a bloodbath inside this building now, as you see everybody starting to take some shots. Get Rush takes down Legatron. Now, it goes down. Get Rush not far, some following as well. OJ Rain, he's going to keep it alive though, as he does knock down Vamp, and there's a chance to get a little bit of a reset, but Katana's still waiting on the outskirts. They're going to get some shots through the window. Pupski will fall down in first spot. Who's going to take that? Because Katana on the outside is going to lose effect potentially here, but using the horizon to get out, stays alive. Vamp, Legatron, Sweater, they're all trying to keep themselves alive, but it's only Paggy left from Team Maple. He shuts down No Name. Now it's going to be 1v3, and Katana, like we said, from that high ground, had the best opportunity to close this out and wait for the fights happening in building. They do exactly that, and they finish off as your winners here of game at number 5. That means it is definitely a match point reached here, and it is going to be the boys and girls of Katana looking solid for the chance to go on and close this out. I think there might be more than one potentially as well, though. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, well, Bankai got robbed of that luxury early on. We've seen it now managed to just ruin their day. So unable to secure match point in that game in particular. But I'm loving to see it. Katana just taking a Mirage up to the victory. As a Mirage main myself, I love to see it. But really great decision there from Team Maple. Recognising the threats, playing for second. You knew that it was either, hey, we get eliminated regardless. You've got a karst brain fire at you. You may as well play for second, and manage to secure it just in time. Team Maple unable to make it to a victory, but they've had some consistency in some of the games. But two teams have made it to match point, Mark. Katana and No Name. It feels like No Name have just kind of bounced out of nowhere. They were in the upper end of the board, but we were talking so much about Bankai. Maybe we've put the pressure on them too much, but two teams make it. Do you think we're going to see it close out as we go back to Stormpoint? End as we begun?
Could well be. I mean, with a team like Katana, you can't write them off, but then No Name, like I said, they've been the silent assassins, slowly making their way up there. They've got 30 kills, right? They've been absolutely doing their work in the lobby for sure, but they just weren't on our radar for being in that position to grab that match point, which maybe that's the way you play it, right? Nobody was expecting it, and then all of a sudden you take the points when needed, you're on match point, you go into this final potential game here in game number 6 and steal it away from the likes of everybody. It's like pulling a rug from under your feet. Bankai thought they had that rug well and truly flying like Aladdin, but sadly, the wish did not come true from their genie yet. But they still have to try and reach that match point. And that's what they're looking for. They're still looking to get that magic number 1, and it's only 1 kill they need for them to get the chance to match point. But they need to make sure that Katana and No Name do not finish this here in game number 6. The same with teams like Despicable, Team Maple, Roadhouse still an opportunity, Skoden, even all the way down to Team Hartley at 32 points, even New not far away at 30 points. They could easily jump onto match point in one game. That's how close this lobby has become in terms of points and getting to that threshold. Scott, what do you think? Do you think we have more than one more game in us?
I think we do, to be honest. And you know what? I could easily see another 4 or 5 teams making it to match point after this game. Because the way people are playing, right? All they need to do is combine that with good placement. You look at now, Nyx. Okay, that was not their game, in theory, because they obviously didn't win it. But what a game from Nyx. Like, my standout player right there, early KP, they had the third party, they had the fourth party, and they still managed to walk away. Nyx pulling out some absolute blinders with that charged Senti. But you know what? Anyone who's in that sort of 30-point marker, it's pretty straightforward for them to get to match point if they can keep up that aggression, right? They only need 8 kills and a win, and then they're there, and just could easily upset that board. So I think it's still too early to call. However, the two teams that have made it to match point, that consistency and that aggression is enough to see them take it all in game number 6. I think, quite honestly, the odds are obviously against them, and I think that you might get your game 7, but we could find ourselves going back to Stormpoint again after this one. Or maybe it finishes in E-District. I just don't know. I don't know how to call it, because it's been such a mix mash of just aggression, defense. Oh, I don't know how it's going to go, Mark, but I'm loving it. I'm all here for it. An evening of Apex as the winter draws it in. It's getting dark, it's getting early. Teams are just ready to run it down. And we go back to Stormpoint. I'm hoping that we can come full circle and end as we started.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see if we do end where we started. But you know what's for sure is the tables have definitely turned. It's not from where we started. Game on Stormpoint was a Bankai win. We've yet to see them come back and win. They've been close, but they've also yet to make it to match point finals, even though they were the team with the most points very early on, and things have definitely changed. But Sparrow was the last legend ban, so you're not going to see them jump on away and get into safety anymore. You're going to have to rely on another, maybe more Pathfinders being brought to the table, maybe even more Revenants, as we've seen them leaping into action quite some time for some of these teams, making their way to get more and more kills on the board because they are desperate need for points.
Indeed, but we obviously lost Eclipse this evening. Team Fallout have also left the lobby, licking their wounds, unable to make it connect and matter tonight on match point. So only 18 teams remain. So the odds are just edging ever so slightly back into the favour of some of these teams on match point. But whether or not we're going to see an early fight remains to be seen. We could have another early push from Team New as they go towards OR9. That was how the games broke out on Stormpoint in the first game, and Nyx is already feeling it, already wants to send it down, is looking. We've got Horizon, we've got Conduit, and we've got Mirage. I love to see it. A little bit of a jack of all trades there, but they're obviously going for the quick reset capability with the Conduit and obviously the Horizon push. But OR9 were ready there, Mark. That was good shots from above there from a My Router with the charge rifle. The charge rifle, not a weapon you really want to have when the going gets tough and when these teams start to encroach. Hopefully buying enough time for Mayborn and Angie to get into the fight, but Nyx and Co just looking healthy because of that Conduit, ready to take the fight to them.
Yeah, definitely are ready to take that fight to them completely. Unfortunately, the charge rifle, like you said, is not what you want up and close and personal, but from distance, if you can charge that thing up and get them shots ticking off, there is a chance to take some good early shots and damage and potentially get the fight in your favor.
Beautiful movement. Beautiful movement to get out of dodge there, right? Yeah, just recognize the threat onto the height. Great movement there. But Floating taking care of Waddle and the kill feed as well. So we've got fights breaking off elsewhere. Our production team doing a fantastic job of bringing the action to us. So that's all the way at command center between Scarlet Eyes and Vindex. So we'll keep eyes on as many fights as possible. This one just seems to be a bit of a stalemate just now between New and OR9.
Yeah, nobody's willing to give an edge here as it stands over on Launchpad, but it's critical for these two teams because they both need the points, right? They both need points. New sitting in 11th spot as things stand. The opponents that they're waiting to try and hunt down of OR9 are in 13th spot. So yeah, very much needing points to get themselves up that leaderboard, well within 20 points away from at least match point. Maybe they're more or less like 27, I think, OR9 sitting on. So yeah, they're needing 33 points in total. So you want to try and get them quickly here. I know R9 don't look like they're getting anything quickly here as Orbit does manage to take one down. Pixel will be eliminated first though in the lobby, and that looks like it was Despicable shutting them down. Vulcan also taking down Vamp on that kill feed here as well. But no, and this fight here still kind of dragging on a little bit, but not willing to kind of give an edge here as we jump off towards Scarlet Eyes, who we said mentioned throwing, did get a tag and did get a knock. Now looking to try and finish another player. Oh, instantly shut down himself though from Legatron. That was some shot.
They're all over the place, to be honest, Scarlet Eyes. They were fighting in command center, and then this team came for the third party, and then they just full sent it. They are like bloodhounds right now. Billy, Floating, and Kairu right now, just ready to deal some damage, get some points, and get themselves back into contention. And speaking of being back in contention, you cannot help but feel bad for PXL because they were dominating in the early stages of this tournament, and they've just not been able to connect with anything this evening. It's just been such a tough night where that consistency and that domination that we've seen from them is just really not connecting. But 17 squads remain, lots of fights breaking out, right now. Team Despicable in another fight against Ivan right now. Can Hayarka, Slab, and Nedlock do something about this and reconnect, get the kills and momentum going against a very, very dangerous Team Despicable?
Yeah, it's a very, very dangerous team, like you says. Sacking the kill feed does knock Waddle again. Looks like he's been getting a over the other end of the. He doesn't want to be on. In the meantime, Katana taking a good shots there. Effect getting the knock. Belleru taking down Scar here now. Mastiff getting the tags, getting the shots, getting the knock on towards Jay. There's going to be KP. Not that the Katana need it. All they need to do is win the lobby now. So Katana just getting extra points, getting themselves further forward, even further than they need to be. But, you know, they have to finish off these teams that come towards them, because that can ruin their chances of winning the game. And exactly what you need to do is anybody that comes towards you, you shut them down and you go, right, that's one step closer to the victory. Ivan does eventually get eliminated here from Despicable. Lust will fall quite quickly afterwards here, as well as OJ Rain does take down Shikaku, and that will be the end of their, well, at least Storm Point for now.
Yeah, and this is all that Katana needs to play slow, well. But Team Maple are also in line. But Bankai being eliminated in 15th, that is the point they need, however. So they are going to get to match point just in time. But Team Maple under some severe pressure from afar. Skoden manages to come out on top, but it was none other than Katana, all the way a down beast, who managed to steal one of those kills. And Katana just need to play it slow right now, Mark, right? They have the KP. All they need to do is rotate. Let's get ourselves up to Parp and put ourselves in a position to win this game. It's pulling in a direction that no teams are really in, other than Skoden. There's no teams in green zone right now, which is bizarre. It's playing all the way up to Northpad Ferrara area. Everyone's just on the hunt for kills. They're getting impatient. It's that Game 6 impatience that is kicking in. And if you're not careful, you might just lose it all, because we could go to a Game 7. You can't afford to get complacent at this moment of the game.
Yeah, as players start to encroach towards Hartley, they're not impatient, but they know they've got to pass them to get up there, in towards checkpoint, up towards the zone. But they're inside that building. They've got safety, at least inside for now. But the closer and closer you get, the closer and closer this fight comes as well, because actually Katana are going to be taking that fight with Skoden a little bit further north than Team Hartley and Cohen as well. So this could be potentially the end of Skoden, as Effect does get the knock onto Zackways. Now, Belleru managing to stay alive here, but only on a blue shield, so having to keep the things interesting here, and kind of goes down as well. Before you know it, it is going to be a chance for a full wipe here, but Katana lose Hakis. Now, Belleru in Effect have to try and do the hard work of finishing off Skoden. Can they do it? Are they going to be the opportunity? In the meantime, Hartley gets shut down, even though they were inside that building as well. But very unfortunate as Ren goes down here. Zackways now is the last remaining player in the Revenant. How far away has he ran away is the question. It's quite some distance away,
at least. I don't blame him.
Yep.
I'd have been out of that as soon as I recognised it's a Horizon, and it's most likely Effect, because that man is just not missing any shots. One of the best in the game, if not the best, certainly in the EMEA region. That beam is just so dangerous, and Katana just sending it. They do not need a Valkyrie to understand, but they're off. They're on the hunt, and they're so uncontested because teams are only just starting to get into this area. You've got teams like Vindex right now, you've got Roadhouse, and you've got Scarlet Eyes finally making it into some sort of playable space. But Katana still dominate the entirety of the north, even all the way down from the western side. They're in a position to win this game. It's going to take something special to not have them win the game, right?
They have so much space. They have so much knowledge of how many people are around them. Got the best spot at this point in time. They've got the height advantage up there near towards Northpad, looking over the entire zone for everybody that has to make their way north of every other part of the map, pretty much. Cascade Falls, you've got Despicable just finishing off what looks like, oh, what was Misa's team again?
Vindex.
Vindex, there we go, they're done by the looks of it.
I feel so bad for them because it just feels that they've been constantly resetting this entire game. Waddle's been killed twice, brought back a third time, and they're still under pressure. However, Scarlet Eyes came in at just the right time mark. Came in to try and help that fight. Sneaking up behind Roadhouse right now, who are now having to burn their util to try and stay alive in this fight. But Katana are just going to send it to the remains of Vindex right now. Katana in an isolated 3v3, or it's a 2v3. It's affecting Hackis on their own, pushing to Vindex. So if Vindex can do something special, we might see Katana in a tough spot. But Roadhouse just holding the fort right now, uncaring that other teams are pushing up against them. Buying time for Scarlet Eyes to potentially be shot in the back as other teams are finally making it to zone.
Yeah, so Billy and Kyrie and Scarlet Eyes, the only ones remaining here. Well, Vulcan did get taken down. Well, he was actually floating in the air, funny enough, in the horizon. Kyrie does fall. Now it's all down to Billy. He has to whip, dive, and weave out of the way. Does have that Bangalore. We'll use the smoke to try and get out of the way in the meantime, but no name on board. You're going to see Fudo finishing off Kyrie to get the points and on the board. But as it stands, yeah, there's a lot of teams still trying to vie for position, but still yet anywhere near like the actual zone where Katana have got pretty much one of the only teams inside the main zone, other than your team of Waddle and Co, who Vindex, they're doing good to get up there, but they're not taking that fight to Katana, which is brave and wise at this point in time, not taking it too early, but have a knowledge of where they are.
But you know what, Mark? A great job from them to hold off the dogs of Effect and Hackis. Managed to do so whilst recovering and healing. Very nearly seen the end of their game when they were being crossfired by the third party, and then managed to hold off undoubtedly one of the most aggressive teams of the evening. So really well played from them. But if it ends up another isolated 3v3, I can feel it where Katana are just going to send it to those guys. Katana laying down fire just now, but we've got eyes on Despicable, who are just going to end it. They're just going to send it. They're going to take the fight to Syntrix, poor Syntrix, who've just been unable to really do anything overly dominant this evening. Right now, you've got Despicable pushing up Path, Rev, and Bang right now. Tax now the one on the Rev. It feels like they're drawing straws to decide who gets to play Rev this tonight, Mark.
Yeah, it's my turn. I want to go in the hunt. I want to go for kills here. Taxon and hasn't yet found them yet though, and they managed to get that full reset here of your Syntrix as well. So Sheila Enjoyer is back on his feet. How long will they last, and how long will they be on their feet for as Despicable looking still to chase them down? Wibble McDibble will be sat down, and that's the Newcastle that just saved the day a second ago is now out, and now it's going to be a harder job here if you're Syntrix to deal with Despicable.
It's so upsetting to watch how Zuni plays, because I have just had nights where he's absolutely run me down in ranked, and it's just so effortless, right? Just they're gliding around the map doing an insane amount of damage. But Scarlet Eyes being eliminated, another one of those teams that we were hoping to see make a statement game to try and claw their way up to match point, going out in 10th. And we're seeing Katana start to slow down, slow playing it. Effect with some insane shots once again. The crossfire from Hackis, Syntrix being eliminated in the kill feed at the same time. But we're seeing the patience now fall out there from Katana. You've got Wee holding back and holding the fort, but Popsicle now also just trying to get some KP and build up that Evo as teams rotate in from the checkpoint side. So it could be a tough one for them, Popsicle, because they've got to play across those trenches, and you've got none other than Katana overlooking the remains of this fight. Players facing off against them as we speak.
Yeah, this is a very difficult position to be in if you're players, right? You've got people looking over the top of you from the distance. You also have the team nearby that you're actually in close fight with. And Pupsiki, they're not in the best spot either, to be fair. They're down underground. But I don't know whose chances I fancy if I was any of these two teams. Really getting stuck and smoked in there. Thermites and such going in. Kind of do damage, but only to that wall. At least try and get the rampart wall down as much as possible. Looking for that sneaky scope here with the Kraber.
I was hoping to see it. It felt like that could have been a moment there, Mark. We were both on the edge there, edge of our seats, hoping to see some Kraber play.
That's what I was hoping for sure. We're so close, and so far he's still looking for it, but not going to find it yet, Blake. Not willing to pull that trigger and risk it, but goes for the no-scope instead. Instead, his teammate does go down to Praxi, does get taken. And now the Revenant Blake decides, right, we've got to get out of here. We've lost one, we don't want to lose too many. And guess who's coming close by? It is going to be Katana, Hakis, and Effect getting involved. R9 gets eliminated in 8th spot here as well, but they are still in the zone. The other team still in the zone is going to be Vindex, who are still north of that zone. Fuda, you still got Despicable in the zone.
Get aggressive here, Mark. They have got to start pushing Katana, but instead they're looking the other way. So Katana are going to get absolute free reign of the entirety of zone again. It feels like people are obviously unaware of who it is, but fundamentally it is just not the game for others because they're just unknowingly gifting Katana so much room. And Popsicle managed to come out on top there as No Name get eliminated. But everyone else is going to be fighting in from the eastern side. It's looking good. I'm feeling that it could be game over in game number 6. Unless something bizarre happens, it's going to be over with Katana's victory.
Katana's doing a fantastic job just to stay where they are. Stay put, not getting overly touchy here or too aggressive because they don't need it, right? They just need to watch everybody else take these fights. Despicable shutting people down, and that's Lady Bexy. Roadhouse looking to be eliminated, but Fuda stays alive and kicking. Effects actually pushed up a little bit further forward as well here as he's looking for opportunities to see where these teams are all set up. We've got 4 or 5 teams, sorry, remaining. Fuda is just obviously a solo player, and then you've got 3 or 4 full teams ready to fight it out in the end zone. And you know what, like you said, Vindex is going to have the Crypto to have a look and scan around, but I feel like it is the Katana's game to win.
Yeah, and however you look at it, because we've now got isolated 3v3 fights, you've got Vindex and Despicable right now facing off. You've got Popsicle and Katana facing off. Fuda, the lone rat, just trying to find a safe spot to just stay alive. Vindex taking some severe damage there from Despicable. Whoever wins their isolated 3v3 is going to be in such a good position to potentially loop around the north and bully Katana. But it's not looking too good because Effect is dealing some damage as well. Gets the knock on to get rushed. Katana just full sending it, hoping to try and finish this fight and finish it fast. If they can do it and Popsicle go down, it's going to be over. But recognizing this, it's Despicable. They recognize the fact that this fight is ongoing, and they've broken away from Vindex. They recognize the risk of pushing a Caustic inside, so now Despicable are looking towards Katana. Despicable could indeed ruin the nights and the hopes of Katana. We could see game number 7 begin, but it is still anyone's game. Everyone's being passive, playing it smart, not wanting to be the ones to open this fight, recognizing that it's a rat and 3 trios still staying strong.
I think Ashiro was actually realizing that the person he was shooting at was actually Fuda, not realizing the Katana guys are further to the left-hand side. So now that means that they've pushed a little bit further north. Despicable getting closer and closer to Vindex, and now Fuda is staying alive as Roadhouse. He probably won't go on to win this, right, or affect it, but he could be pivotal in what happens next here. As Katana, you can see them making their way through the trenches, and it is going to be Despicable the other side of the trenches, and Vindex inside that building, the zone pool, and Vindex having to make their way out into the trenches as well. And this is going to be the interesting battle here. Now Roadhouse going to spot the players coming in. That's a great little spot there to see the players passing over. Oh, they spot the rat play. He says no.
They didn't. Fuda just stayed quiet, but Mesa's doing the right thing right now, getting those barrels down. But this is it. This is Vindex just swooping in, trying to grief this 3v3.
No.
But Katana managed to stay on their feet. So it's looking as though we're going to see the games come to a close unless Fuda can do something magical as a solo. Katana encroaching on Vindex right now. Not looking good. Despicable go down. The game's could end. I'm going to let you try and close this one out, Mark. I'm going to zip it.
We said this last time, it never worked out. We said this last time, it never worked out that way, but Effect got back up here as well. Winner of 3 versus 1. Fuda is still ratting out till the end. But Vindex is the only team now to stop this going to game number, well, the game end pretty much. This is the way to do it here. Katana in the best spot has all of the utility to do it, and it's only Waddle, Mizu, and T Enjoyer they've got to take out, because Fuda on his own is not going to take out the full 3-man squad. I very much doubt it. But we've seen stranger things happen. A slower pace fight, but here we go. This is it, about to commence. To finally spot Fuda will shut him down, but that means that they're getting damage done. There it is, Katana, send it, but Effect goes mega weak here, but Hackis is down. Gets the reset. Roadhouse is finally eliminated. It's Vindex. It's Katana. It's the final chance to stop this from being over. And Vindex are in a very sticky situation here, because only T Enjoyer left. And that will be it, ladies and gentlemen. Our Vulcan series winners will be none other than Alliance Effect. It's Hackis, it's Belarus, it is Team Katana, your Vulcan Series champions.
I want to call you back to the first week when people were vying for draft spots, because, Mark, you actually said it. This is the team I think is going to win it all, because if you've got a team with Effect and Hackis in it, and we just manages to swoop in there with the Mirage at the end to just help take the victory. And you know what? Fuda did such a great job as a solo there, because what opened the fight was his Kraber shot. He managed to Kraber over to Katana, but not recognizing that threat, that is what caused Vindex to look back and instead step away, clear the rat. And unfortunately, just didn't play off it. T Enjoyer got the initial knock onto it, but nevertheless, our winners, Katana, 88 points, won it. And Despicable, despite playing an incredibly aggressive night, maybe not always getting the placement, coming in second. So the victors there, and a big shout out to everyone. We'll try and flash up the damage and the kill leaders momentarily to identify the winners.
Take a guess before. Just take a guess. You could probably guess. It's
either going to be between Effect or, I think, someone from Despicable, because at the end of the day, both teams have 53 points. Effect absolutely beaming. Of course, the Horizon plays coming out, the Wingman coming out. But I think someone in Despicable could surprise us in any case. But nevertheless, we'll get that up and going. A big shout out to all our teams who contributed to the games throughout the entirety of the Vulcan series. And of course, Effect takes it with 31 kills, closely followed, of course, by Zuni on 24. Fantastic aggression there from those guys at the top of the board. But a big shout out again to all our players, all of our production, because the Vulcan series has been fantastic. Bringing one of the ladies along from Women's Comp and then merging with some of these pro players has made for some fantastic games, incredible end games, and of course, a fantastic series.
Look at that damage from Effect as well. 10,000, almost 11,000 damage. That is 1,000 more than the second spot of Zuni, and Zuni was absolutely gunning as well. That is a phenomenal amount of damage over 6 matches. Fair play, Effect. Well deserved. That's you'll get the prize pool. You'll get the £30 for the most kills and the £30 for the most damage. There's a 60. This will be a little bit of a good old
money, right?
Good old takeaway for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a great takeaway for the weekend. If Katana take the win, Despicable very much so, just from doing kills for the most part. They were just aggressive the whole time, and they took it away from No Name, who were very much there or thereabouts in the end. They're looking like they could have closed it out as well, because they were on match point. But if we did go to match 7 and Katana didn't win that, there was going to be 5 teams on match point. It would have been really interesting. But it was a 6-game threshold, unfortunately, and it did end where it began.
Yeah, and you know what? We cannot take it away from the victors there. We talk a lot about the fact that Effect and Hackis, of course, being from Alliance, but they could not have done it without their third. Fantastic job of being able to keep up with players at that caliber. I wouldn't have been able to do it. I would have just sent out decoys like a smackhead and hoped for the best. But a really valiant victory from Team Katana. But again, massive props to every single person who brought the Vulcan series together. The community who donated to the prize pot. Yusaki for coordinating at the top of this machine. And every single person behind the scenes who's been inevitably important in bringing the viewing experience to you guys at home. We have the easy part of just being able to talk about it. But with that said, I'm gonna shut up. It's the end of my run. I had a fantastic time here. Thank you everyone who's watched, everyone who's played. I've been Scott from Convergent. Mark, I'll hand over to you to close up, buddy.
Yeah, guys, I really do appreciate every single one that's tuned in throughout the Vulcan series and everything that you have done in the background for everybody in the staff as well. From us, that has been the Vulcan series from Celestial Tournaments. We will hopefully see you again very soon. I know there's a Jules Christmas up for grabs here as well, a tournament coming up very soon. So if you are not involved and you want to be involved, get in the Discord, sign yourself up, get yourself in a dual partner, and try and compete from some extra cash just before Christmas. But for now, that is us to end the evening. We hope you had a fantastic time watching some Apex Legends with us, and we will see you hopefully again very soon. Peace out.